We're watching how the top VTuber agency got exposed as Dystopian Nightmare, the rise and fall of VShojo by the GOAT. Please go support him and go subscribe, like his content and everything. This is a 2-hour long video on this whole thing. A whole 2-hour video. Can you believe it? And knowing me, I'll turn it into a 5-hour video, but I'm gonna try really hard not to. I'm gonna try to be as good as I can. I don't think I turned off TTS. Oh, hold on. Did I turn off TTS? No, I didn't. Oh, there we go. It's off now. None of you get voices anymore. TTS is down. And sound alerts are gone. No voices for you. No, we're not doing a take 3. This is the take. We are done. If my mic sounds weird, I'm sorry. It's because of my fan. It's really hot outside. If you want to join the Discord, you can get this cute little cursor. If you want. Either like or dislike, whatever counts as you being a viewer. But, have a good time. Yeah. I'm just gonna start it.
On July 21st, 2025, Iron Mouse, one of the
Oh,
biggest VTubers on the planet, would suddenly and without...
Do we want captions for this? I'm not sure if captions would be good or not for this video. Maybe. Let me move it to the right a little. My tail is covering it. Whatever, it's fine.
Prior warning, post this video titled Why I Left VShojo, one of the most iconic and recognizable agencies in the industry that she's been with since 2020, so almost 5 years now. It would be in this video that she reveals to the world for the first time ever that VShojo had stolen over $500,000 from her that were meant to go to a charity. Something that even a comic book supervillain wouldn't think of doing. But it only got worse from here.
But what made me really happy about that is, from all that going on, they started like a new donation fund and it got over 1 million. I'm pretty sure it was like 1.2 million donations from everybody, but honestly, they still should have to pay the 500k. That should still have to be a thing. But that's just so... It is crazy. Like, that is the most, like you said, comic villain thing that you could do is steal that much from a charity. Like, hello?
Soon enough, you'd have previous and current talents of VShojo, as well as some other very prominent VTubers in the industry, reveal to us how VShojo was behind the scenes, how they were mistreated, and how this once iconic company was nothing more than a facade, hiding behind it an extremely toxic and disastrous management that was leading it. But some of these crazy revelations, these bombshells that these VTuber talents were telling us, occurred years ago, making us revisit past controversies and incidents that this company was in and see it from a completely different perspective now with this new added context. This is why, in order to truly understand the depth of this catastrophe, I had no choice but to go back to the absolute beginning, even before VShojo was founded, even talking about the origins of its CEO, Gun.
Oh, right. I saw... Here, let me move myself out of the way. It was this little emote got removed off of Twitch, and I was like, okay, I gotta know the lore behind all of it. But hello, welcome in. I needed to know the lore. I do not know the lore of, like, the beginning of VShojo or anything. All I know is some of the talents I've seen some things of, and a few things that have been released recently about how they kind of screwed everyone over and how messed up it was. My favorite history documentary? It's true!
And this 2-hour video is the result of that. We're going to be going through all the major lows and highs of VShojo all the way to its very violent and sudden death. I say this with no exaggeration. This is the biggest VTuber related controversy in history, and it's not even close. So without further ado, let's talk about it.
Let us begin.
The dot-com crash was a catastrophic financial incident that took place in the US around the year 2000. You see, the World Wide Web had been introduced in the early 1990s, and early adopters would quickly understand that this was going to change life as we know it. So all of a sudden, the word internet held a lot of weight. I mean, this was going to change the world. So obviously, if a company was going to operate on that internet, then it was going to be a part of this new world
All the
order that stands to
windows.
be very profitable. This is when investors would decide to throw stacks of cash at any company claiming to operate on the internet. There was truly no need to dive into any specifics about how they were operating, their costs, and how they planned to make money. Just the fact that they were on the internet meant that they were going to be successful because this was going to change the world. Soon enough, the word internet would lose all meaning, becoming a buzzword like AI is in 2025. If a company claims to have
Yeah.
AI in their product, then their stock skyrockets in a day. It's ridiculous. And so, after years of euphoria and investing in anything internet related, investors would realize at the end of 2000 that many of these businesses weren't even generating any revenue. They literally had no way to make money. So everyone started panic selling at the same time, causing the bubble to literally burst.
Oh, that makes sense. I was gonna say I'm a bit confused of just the instant phew, down. Oh my goodness. Look at how pale my model is. Oh no. White woman jump scare. I'm so sorry. You're gonna go sleep, but have fun. Have a good night.
The majority of these companies went extinct and very few survived. This would actually be quite similar to what
None of
happened
them
with
will
live
live.
streaming websites, although on an extremely smaller scale and not affecting any global
I'm gonna
financial
fix my
institutions.
nose so
I mean,
this
have you ever
happens.
heard of the website Battlecam? No? Well, that's normal, but don't bother Googling it because it doesn't even have a Wikipedia page. But at the time when it was founded in the early 2000s, it had a proper community and a sizable amount of streamers, competing against each other in challenges in order to win cash prizes. And while the majority of things related to this website were lost to history, one of the only things we still
Sorry
have
about
left
that.
is a clip of Keemstar crying when he was shown a picture of how bad his balding had become. And speaking of Keemstar, in this now very infamous clip, he would start off his rant saying, "F this, I'm on Block TV with my hands up," referring to yet another streaming website that was lost
Oh
to
my
history. In
goodness.
the early 2000s, there were so many of these. But unfortunately, 99% of these websites would cease to exist, and many would be lost to history, except one in particular, Justin.tv. It was founded in the year 2007.
I'm sorry, I like that they use the caveman drawings for this puppet. It's like it was founded in 2007. Insert cave drawings here. Like hello.
And was named after its founder, Justin Khan. But initially, you couldn't even stream on the website. Only Justin could. Its entire purpose was centered around Justin and him live streaming his entire life. He called it life casting. Today,
that's
we call
cool.
it IRL streaming. And when I say that he would stream everything, I mean it. I mean, this is him sleeping right here. And during this interview, he's literally live with his apparatus that he made himself. Eventually, this
Wow.
trend of live casting would catch on, and Justin TV would allow anyone to create an account and broadcast themselves live to, well, a group of strangers. And as the platform continued to grow beyond anyone's expectations, in 2011, it would come up with a decision that would change everything forever. The creation of Twitch.tv, a separate website from Justin.tv that was not only centered on just live streaming, but more specifically centered on live streaming video games. But
I'm
early
sorry,
on,
you got
after
sniped.
Twitch.tv had been created, the best way
You'll
I
be
could
back in
describe
300
how the
seconds, I'm
website
sorry.
functioned was more like a Discord server, in the sense that everyone kind of knew each other. Everyone knew who the most prominent streamers were, but more importantly, Twitch staff was very approachable. They'd always be in someone's chat, making the streamers feel like they were really part of a community. And at the time, what really differentiated Twitch from other websites was their global emotes. You could use these in any streamer's chat and you wouldn't have to pay a single thing. But what was really interesting here is that many of the early emotes were inside jokes that only people on the website would understand. One form of these inside jokes was creating emotes out of Twitch staff in funny pictures, like this one right here by the name of Anele. This was one of the earliest employees at Twitch. And another emote that you'd find that was based on a
this is
staff
the one
member as
that I
well
saw
was
that got
the
removed.
gun run emote. What made this emote special is that whenever you saw a streamer encounter some sort of technical difficulty, the chat would start spamming it as a way to summon Gun Run himself, the staff member that the emote was based on. He was seen
He
as
was
a
tech
genius who
support.
understood live streaming like no one else. In fact, when Business Insider went to Twitch to visit their office and create an article on the people who work there, the first image you're greeted with when you click on the article is Gun Run himself, sitting on his desk, smiling. This is how Business Insider would describe him, saying, Justin the Gunrun Ignacio went from esports fanboy to streaming guru by the time he was 21. Twitch hired him out of college to
How
help run
lovable
thousands of
is
simultaneous
this?
video streams and orchestrate the tech for its signature tournament.
Does anyone know how old Gunrun is now, technically? I'm kinda like wondering, I'm confused.
In 2013, Forbes named Ignacio in its 30
Hello,
under 30
welcome in.
games list. So yeah, no big deal. This guy was just kind of a genius. He'd be single-handedly helping Twitch run these massive streams of hundreds of thousands of viewers watching tournaments from Dota 2 and League of Legends, for example. And additionally, he was in the Forbes 30 under 30 list for 2014, which is a list made up of 30 people who are under the age of 30 that have been a huge influence in their respective industry. Not bad for a 21-year-old.
That's pretty
But
great.
if that wasn't enough, he was
Yeah.
also taking Justin Khan's vision to the next level, creating a backpack filled to the brim with technology that could withstand streaming IRL at high resolution with no interruptions. He called it the Gunrun IRL Backpack. Overall, as time would go by, Twitch and its staff would get a lot of attention. Forbes would be calling it the ESPN of video games. It seemed unstoppable. So much so that even Amazon took notice and eventually bought the website for $970 million on August 26, 2014.
Yeah, isn't it technically like a sinking ship when it comes to money? From the cost of how much it costs to support all the live streams at once? I think I'm wrong, but I believe I heard that. Not on my birthday? Oh, I'm so sorry. Happy early birthday, though, huh?
Making its founders very rich, but also ending its tight-knit culture centered around staff and streamers, transforming it into a very corporatized company. After this buyout, Gunrun would keep working at Twitch for the next few years. He would also keep developing his Gunrun IRL backpack and would create the company Unlimited IRL that sells these backpacks straight up to streamers who want to stream IRL with high quality and no interruptions. And
Wonder
while I'm
how
sure
much
his
they
life was going
cost.
good and he was achieving things that he found fulfilling, there would come a time where his life, and pretty much almost every human's life, would change forever, making many of us divert to places that we never thought we'd end up in. And that would be none other than the COVID 2020 pandemic.
Oh.
During the pandemic, many people were isolated and couldn't do much outside. This meant that for many, in order to stay sane to some degree, they had to keep themselves entertained. And the only way to do that was through the internet. This completely skewed the numbers on
Showing Genshin is so real. I started playing Genshin during that whole time. It was... it kept me occupied for so long. What other games did I play a lot? I think I played a lot of Minecraft. And I did a lot of, not what I was supposed to be doing. Like, I did none of my work that was for school and stuff. I'm gonna be honest. But I think I made a lot of websites and, like, my own little video games. Oh, hi, Josh!
so many things, Genshin Impact being an example. Launching at the end of 2020 and getting so many players that it had made over $1 billion in under 6 months. But video games wouldn't be the only thing that would go up in numbers substantially. Entertainment of all
Twitch
kinds would skyrocket, including streaming. This also included a fairly new genre of streaming, which was VTubing. You see, the pioneer of VTubing was none other than Kizuna Ai, starting her activities at the end of 2016. Unlike Hatsune Miku, which is a virtual being run by a team of people and a corporation, Kizuna Ai was actually a person, except that person was using a virtual avatar to express themselves. And even though she was a streamer,
isn't Kizuna Ai, like, actually, like, 6 separate people? It's
much
John
of her brand
VTuber,
was centered
yeah.
around the Japanese idol template. She wasn't just a streamer, she could sing and she could perform. She behaved like an idol, and the expectations of an idol were laid upon her shoulders. But for years to come after 2016, VTubing would really remain a very Japanese-centric form of entertainment. This would change in 2020 when many content creators
Oh my god,
many
VR
people in
chat.
general would start using VR chat in order to combat isolation. Seeing so many people express themselves through avatars would make the idea of a
remember
VTuber
VR
way less
chat.
weird than it used to be. This would contribute to how VTubing would start to all of a sudden blow up beyond proportion. But of course, the ones that would benefit the
Was
most
a
and the quickest
time-
would be the 2 biggest VTuber corporations on the planet, both
I think I have, like... Hold on. Let me actually go look up how many hours I have in VR chat. It's on my Steam. Give me a second. 1,230 hours, and most of it was just exploring worlds on my own. I think What do you mean, oh god? I spent a majority of it just watching it all on my own. 1,000 hours is crazy. You don't want to see my Overwatch hours then. I played Overwatch for so long.
Based in Japan and already possessing a big established talent roster. They would go by the names of Hololive
I'd love to
and
stream
Nijisanji.
more
They
VR
were
chat one
absolutely
day.
dominating streaming in ways that people could have never imagined. And to give you an idea of just how much VTubing had blown up, when Nijisanji first went public on the Japanese stock market, it was valued at $1.1 billion. Yes, a VTuber agency valued at $1.1 billion. These are not rookie numbers.
That is a lot.
VTubing was very hard to ignore at that point. So much so that even popular streamers that would have never delved into this
I remember
before
that
saw
whole
the potential
controversy.
and tried to do some VTubing themselves, trying to snatch a piece of that pie. Look, it was safe to say that by that point, there was global demand for VTubers. It wasn't centered on Japan anymore. And while that was really exciting, it also kind of came with a problem. Ever since Kizuna Ai, VTubers were seen like idols. So these Japanese idol expectations came with being a VTuber when you worked for these two corporations. This meant that they owned everything, even your model. If you were to graduate, which is a Japanese idol way to say retire, then you wouldn't get to keep your model. You would lose your entire identity because it belongs to the corporation. Additionally, it was cool to see these corporations expand to English-speaking talent, but even though this industry was blowing up, there was no real agency in the West. Gunrun would see this as clear as day, which is why on November 24th, 2020, he would announce the creation of the talent agency VShojo, a San Francisco-based VTuber talent agency with its main goal being centered around talent freedom, allowing any talent that chooses to leave the company in the future to retain their full IP and model, as well as their brand in general. He would co-found this company with Mountain Dew, who was a content creator, and would hold the post of chief marketing.
I'm sorry, what is that profile picture? Let me move out of the way. Look at that profile picture. What a goofy profile picture. Freedom!
Marketing officer at VShojo, and Daniel Sanders, which would be their third and final co-founder. He would hold the position of chief operating officer and would sometimes act as the chief financial officer. Now, what really made VShojo special was the fact that their founding members were already very well established in the VTubing community as independent VTubers. This was completely different from corporations like Nijisanji and Hololive, with every talent starting from scratch with a new identity when they were hired there. Here you had 7 very prominent VTubers carrying over their identity into VShojo and having their already substantial communities follow them. The founding members were Nyaners, Zentreya, Ironmouse, Silverveil, Project Melody, Apricot.
I'm sorry, did they just say Nyaner? Oh shoot, thank you. I'm sorry, the lights aren't really on right now, but thank you. I hope you have a good day. I'm sorry, I'm trying not to get flustered. Isn't it Nyaners? Like Nyan? That is the only time you will hear me say that. Not, you know, whatever, it's fine. It's okay.
Fruit and Himehajime. A few months
yeah,
later,
like a cat.
they would also
okay.
add Veibe to their roster, another independent VTuber with a substantial community. This wasn't just another VTuber agency. This was one that had the potential to not.
You know what I realized? After giving the five gifted, I did that. No. I got gifted subs and I did cat noises in return. I'm cooked. I'm cooked. It's never gonna be okay. You're a real VTuber now? Whatever.
This wasn't just another VTuber agency. This was one that had the potential to not only revolutionize the VTuber industry as we knew it, but to also compete head-to-head with the big two, which were Hololive and Nijisanji, without being a Japanese corporation.
Ego.
And I mean, why wouldn't they? They had the genius Forbes 30 Under 30 CEO, and they had top-tier talent, some of the best.
You came here from YouTube, thought you were funny. Thank you. See, I can be funny. I'm proving people wrong. I'm proving the one person in my DMs that was very rude to me wrong, that said I was not funny. See, one person thinks I'm funny.
CEO, and they had top-tier talent, some of the best in the industry. It normally should have been smooth sailing from here. But unfortunately, barely a year after being established, VShojo would face a monumental controversy that would significantly stain its reputation in the VTubing industry. Nuxtaku is a content creator turned VTuber that heavily benefited from the VTuber boom of the pandemic. He was one of the first independent VTubers to ever reach 2 million subscribers on YouTube, and his most successful content would be centered on collaborations, anime critiques, and of course, Mr. Beast style content in which he would donate to people on Twitch in order to get them to do challenges. His rise to fame was very quick. He practically knew everyone in the VTuber industry, and he had a very mutually beneficial relationship with VShojo talents, collaborating with them on many occasions, and by that point be making content with them quite regularly. However, on October 20th, 2021, to everyone's surprise, he would tweet this out, saying, "Someone is trying to dox VTubers by masquerading as VShojo. I can't say more at this time, but please share this around and be careful."
I think I heard about this. That they'd like send you an email saying that they were like scouting you or something, but if you gave your personal info, that they'd dox you. So first of all, that is such a scary and horrible thing to do, first of all. It takes a lot of malice to resort to that. Please, please do not. There are much better ways to spend your time, I promise. There are much better ways. It was just really awful for a lot of people, if I remember correctly.
Tried to dox me, but I sniffed them out and gave them wrong info, so don't worry about me. I spoke to the CEO of VShojo and I'm trying to untangle everything. I'll update you when I can. You see, VShojo's domain was VShojo.com. That's what they used for their emails. But there was someone impersonating VShojo staff sending emails to VTubers under the VShojo.org domain, hoping to gain their trust and doxing them, uncovering their real names, addresses, and eventually swatting them. Now, Nux was already quite popular. He would have many people try to dox him. He already knew what to do. Unfortunately, though, that doesn't apply to everyone. A smaller VTuber by the name of Saki Nightshade would tweet this out around the same time, saying, "Today may have been the most exciting day I've had in a couple of years. Holy fuck, my emotions are off the charts right now. What a day. Unfortunately, I don't think I can elaborate, which makes me extremely sad." She then goes on to say, "Alright, so what I can say is that I've been contacted for something amazing, and if all goes well, it could be truly life-changing. If that doesn't answer questions, I'm so sorry, I'd like to not say anything else about it." So that person, posing as VShojo staff under the VShojo.org domain, had sent an email to Saki saying, "We want to recruit you to VShojo," raising her hopes up and demanding personal information, which she gave. The day after, she would tweet this out, saying, "Well, the group of people who've targeted Nyaners and leaked her info earlier have my info and sent the cops to my door earlier. They're threatening to do more. Other than the threats to leak my info, they aren't saying much else. I guess I should have figured it'd be too good to be true. Oh well, not much can be done."
That's so heartbreaking, though. It's so heartbreaking to say that I guess I should have known better, or that it was too much or too good to be true type of thing. That is so sad. That just breaks my heart, genuinely.
"Guess I should have figured it'd be too good to be true. Oh well, not much can be done." And we can see Nux in the replies saying, "DM me please." So that was the situation. Very messy, very tricky, and very nasty. And Saki gave out a very important piece of information. The group of people targeting her were the same people who had doxed an important member of VShojo, Nyaners, earlier, leaking some of her personal information. But at this point, we didn't know just how much. 11 days later, Nux would tweet, "The last 10 days were the most insane."
It's just like me trying to say the whole anonymous thing. It feels the exact same way. I'm sorry if it's like an accent thing. I don't mean to be mad if that's what it... I don't mean to be rude if that's what it is.
Of my life. No words could describe how appreciative I am of you and the friends I've made here. Can't wait until I show you everything. I'm changing the game, boy. Teasing something that was in the works. Over the next few weeks, he would keep teasing something that was about to release, and on November 22nd, almost a month after he had received that phishing email, he would tweet out, "Recently, there was a group of doxers that have been harassing VTubers and swatting them by impersonating VShojo. We spent the last month tracking them down. Please share this video." With the video being titled, "I caught a swatter that doxed 12 VTubers, myself included." In it, he would talk about how the email scam worked, how Saki Nightshade was affected, and then would go on to give us information that we didn't know about, which is how 12 VTubers got doxxed when we only knew of 2, and how Nux had gained footage of the doxer in a call with a bunch of friends because one of those friends happened to be a Nux fan and was willing to backstab the doxer. And finally, he would specify that that doxer was facing jail time, and if anyone had the same idea
That's
of
good,
doxing
at
VTubers,
least.
they would end up in handcuffs as well. Additionally, when the video was initially posted, VShojo
It should genuinely, it's like, it should be just immediate crime, go to jail, do not collect 200. Because that whole thing is just terrifying to me. It is genuinely so scary. And I am truly, like, horrified of that happening to people I care about and people I love, you know? It is just so scary. Let me go back.
they would end up in handcuffs as well. Additionally, when the video was initially posted, VShojo themselves, their official page, had replied saying, "Thank you, Nux, for working with us. We've added our own response to the events," specifying that during this, no information was breached from VShojo, and that the fake domain was taken down. It was never going to be used for harmful things ever again. Overall, it seemed like Nux had taken the time to make a detailed video of the events, and that VShojo as an agency not only approved of it, but was able to get through this thanks to this cooperation. So imagine the shock when all of a sudden, almost every single VTuber talent at VShojo would speak out against the video and tell the world how disappointed they are in Nux for releasing it.
Didn't
This
they
same
sign
sentiment would
off
of course
on
be echoed by their communities,
Hello?
and had reached a point where Nux was forced to make a response, tweeting RE cybersecurity/doxing incident, read, linking a twit longer. And before we even get to the twit longer, on this post you can see VShojo members stating publicly how disappointed they were with Nux and his actions. Iron Mouse would say that she was so disappointed and hurt that he was doing this when he full well knew what was truly going on. "We asked you to take it down, we told you we feared for our safety and you didn't care." Fruit would say, "Asking for you to take it down because I felt my safety was in trouble and for you to go to the company and ask for numerous terms and conditions in return, that's not friendship." Silverveil, Vey, Zentrea, Hime, and Melody would all echo the same statement, publicly announcing that not only were they disappointed with Nux, but that he was a liar, a clout chaser, and someone that didn't care about any of his friends at VShojo. With Hime saying that the girls had begged for days for this video to be removed out of fear for their safety, and Project Melody saying he flagrantly disregarded our team's feelings and the fact.
What I don't get is, why didn't the company tell him that the talents were uncomfortable with it? Or did they just not say anything at all, or just said everyone was fine with it? Like that, it feels like a big miscommunication issue, if anything. I don't want to think it's out of malice. Do you think it could be out of malice? I don't want to think it's out of malice. I really hope it was just like a miscommunication thing, because that is...
Facts our security department shared with him. But the biggest response was from Nyaners, who wrote a huge message in her Discord denouncing Nux's actions and expressing how disappointed she was with what he did, saying, "Didn't want to have to type out something stressful like this on what was supposed to be a chill Sunday and my only day off so far this week, but I do not condone the video that Nux has released where he postures himself as our savior and seemingly takes credit for pretty much an entire year's worth of painstaking work done by VShojo's cybersecurity team. I would know that it took that long and took that much work since I was one of the people who unfortunately had to work with them, and I'm incredibly thankful for their help. Whether or not any of the information he gathered helped or not is beside the point.
Maybe they
as
couldn't
releasing a
share?
video like he did about a very sensitive and potentially dangerous situation that involves me and many of my friends only draws unneeded attention to it for some quick views, when if a video were to be made about this at all, it should have been handled with a lot more care and consideration. But for someone like Nux, who has consistently used my friends for clickbait views and has done things like try to bait my friend into watching the Logan Paul Suicide Forest video on stream, and secretly recorded a private call with another one of my friends without permission and then proceeded to use said call to make a video, it's clear that our safety or feelings about any of this is not the priority. The past year was hell for me due to the situation, and it's straight up painful to see it being used in a video like this that doesn't treat the issue carefully at all. A video that he was even told not to release since it could potentially be harmful to us and many other VTubers who were targeted. Responding publicly draws even more attention to it, so I have to choose between sitting quietly and seeing him receive pats on the back for coming to our rescue when his video could encourage even more harassment, or calling him out and hoping he retracts what he said and takes the video down before it gains more traction. If he wanted to actually protect people, he could have made a general PSA video about how to keep your information safe online, or warn people about things like the fake VShojo email situation in a way that didn't didn't reveal a ton of unneeded sensitive information and paint himself as a hero. He doesn't care about helping us. If he did, he would have listened to several of our concerns when it came to how he treats people and uses them for content. This video ultimately makes things worse for us. Anything for views though, I guess. My heart goes out to anyone else who was affected by any harassment, and please be careful with giving out your information online. So obviously, this was one hell of a statement. This wasn't just about Nux releasing a video that the talents at VShojo didn't want released. It seems like they've had a problem with him for a long time with how he uses them for content. None of this had ever been talked about publicly, and it came as a shock. I mean, these people collabed all the time. It seemed like they were friends. Nux, on the other hand, would keep his statement shorter than Nyanner's, but would still manage to drop some pretty big bombshells, saying, "This has been a stressful week for many, and I'm confident and proud of the community and the efforts that went towards resolving things efficiently. My latest video concerned someone that was maliciously impersonating VShojo, and managed to trick individuals into giving personal information and doxing themselves and getting swatted. With the efforts of everyone involved, I believe this situation can be put behind us with the culprit behind these attacks having been brought to light. I do still fully stand by the need for raising awareness of phishing scams. I'm incredibly glad VShojo released a very well-constructed cybersecurity statement addressing the situation, and you should all read it. In regards to my video, I worked with VShojo on this for a while, as they mentioned in their statement in response to my
Yes, Pine flashbang. But I just don't get, like, if the company itself, like, wouldn't you reach out to the talents and the people that were affected to be like, hey, would you be okay with this video being a thing beforehand? Do you think they just didn't do that? It's just so confusing. Because you'd think, as like an agency, you'd make sure that all your talents were okay with this. Especially the ones that were affected.
video. I did show them my video before posting it, and I was not requested to refrain from uploading. The rumors that I had posted it regardless of being asked not to are untrue. In fact, leading up to the events of posting it, I was a part of a 4-hour conversation with their chief cybersecurity officer, overseen by an executive of VShojo and one of the members of the group. I sincerely apologize if my actions have caused any undue stress on anyone. It was not my intention. I was only hoping to contribute to keeping the community safe. With every statement someone would make during this incident, things would somehow make less sense. But regardless, for now, Nux did mention that VShojo released a very well-constructed cybersecurity statement addressing the situation. It was actually released just a few hours before this twitlonger, and it would be after they stealthily deleted their reply to his initial video tweet. But
deleting it after is crazy! Yeah, they all seem to just not talk to each other. To stealthily delete it after is crazy. Oh no!
That's not all. This new cybersecurity statement had a completely different tone from that first reply. They would say things like, VShojo does not endorse any statements or views by parties that have no official affiliation to VShojo. Adding, the methods used to attack the other VTubers were confirmed to be unrelated to phishing and impersonating VShojo. As mentioned before, the fake domain was created on October 14th, 2021 and survived for less than a week, and the other VTubers incidents happened outside.
Are we just straight up lying on this? The method used to attack other VTubers is confirmed to be unrelated to phishing and... Huh? Am I the only one that's confused by this first statement? Am I the only one that's confused by this? Huh?
Out of this time window. As mentioned before, thanks to partners, VShojo confirms there are only 2 victims of this campaign.
Wasn't there 12?
Nux and Saki Nightshade. Things were getting very weird. It's like they were completely discrediting the person they were congratulating when the video came out. But things only got weirder from here. After VShojo had released their official cybersecurity statement, Nyanner's would have this to say in her Discord. VShojo was forced into making a statement on the matter after asking him repeatedly not to release this video. They had to issue corrections to the video since he would not, and there were several inaccuracies within the video, and had to word the statement carefully to not anger his large following and make us a target for even more harassment. I feel especially backed into a corner as I'm afraid to say anything even more publicly than I already am because I know it would invite more hate. I'm exhausted of pissing people off and having them hurl threats and shit at me and my family members constantly constantly, so saying anything about this is scary for me. It sucks and I don't know what to do. Nux chose to release the video knowing that VShojo did not want him to and told him it was a horribly bad idea. Myself and my family members experienced heavy harassment pretty much all year, and the entire situation had to be kept a secret, and I had to continue on as normal, acting happy even when I was terrified, so that I would not draw more attention to them and encourage them. Now he releases a video making everything public like this in a way that is careless and dangerous to many people. It's mind-boggling to me. It's like making a video about how to make a bomb and showing it to a bunch of 12-year-olds. I don't want anyone to go and harass him or threaten him in any way. Please do not do
crazy
anything.
comparison.
I just wanted to be able to finally say something because Cat's out of the bag anyway, and I'm also tired of sitting and watching him do fucked up things to my friends. So far, you probably are confused as hell, and that's normal because everyone was at the time.
Yeah.
How is it that the official VShojo account had given its stamp of approval to Nux and thanked him for working with them when the talents were so clearly against the idea of a video? Something simply wasn't adding up at all. Something was missing, a big piece of the
A video like that actually exists? You know, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised with half of the things that gets passed on this platform. I would not be surprised.
puzzle, and no one really knew what the hell it was. At this point though, Nux as a target was fair game. According to every VShojo talent, he had done something horrendous. So of course, just like with any cancellation, other people started piling up on him, talking about their bad experiences with him. And very few people actually took a step back and said, hey guys, listen, maybe we're going a bit too far here. Maybe we don't have all the facts. The situation was getting so critical that Nux had to release a formal apology. But in this apology video, he would show Discord logs between him and the cybersecurity expert that VShojo
He's dropping
hired,
receipts!
Phoenix. He would reveal that these logs were in a group chat with one of the VShojo girls and Gunrun, the CEO. In these logs, you could see that Nux was working on a video and Phoenix was fully aware of it. But instead of telling him, please don't post this, you're putting our talents in danger, he would be sent a draft of the video and he'd say this: not trying to downplay or anything, I really appreciate that you were providing info at 7:03. Do you think you'd be willing to blur out the word blank from the screenshot for the purposes of denying them notoriety? To which Nux said, okay, I can do that. Phoenix would then say, I appreciate that you are doing the public service announcement and that isn't the problem at all. My comment is narrowly specifically about praising that one fan that reached out. I am 99% certain that is a fellow member of the harassment gang and not a fan. So Phoenix's problem wasn't the video at all. He was completely down with the idea. He just thought that that fan who had leaked the Doxxer to Nux was actually part of the harassment gang and Nux was being socially engineered. At some point, Nux would say, honestly, I think this video will be helpful to you as well. If you need help with anything, feel free to reach out. To which Phoenix would say, thanks a lot. Would you be willing to include a link to a written response by us as well? It's not going to be anything against the video. It's going to be more about making sure people don't think that contract language is real and answer some likely FAQs that will result from all this. To which Nux said, of course. And of course, as you can see, this was
like
their
the
reply
stamp
that
of
they had deleted
approval
shortly
and
afterwards. This
this
video
is-
added even more confusion to the whole situation, because from these logs, it seemed like two people were working together, and the CEO was very well aware of it, and one of the girls that had called Nux out publicly was in this group chat seeing everything, very well aware of the fact that he was going to post this video. And
So one of the girls knew and then went back afterwards to say, why would you post this type thing? Oh no. I hope I'm reading that wrong. I really hope I'm reading that wrong, because that would be very slimy. It's the best way to put it.
thanks to Fruit leaking her DMs with Nux at some point on Twitter, she would accidentally reveal who that VShojo talent was. And it would turn out to be Project Melody. In these DMs, we can see Fruit and Nux arguing, and at some point Nux says, I'm not sure what you mean. I had a group chat with Melody, Gunrun, and their head cybersecurity guy, and I showed them the video beforehand. They had a few notes, which I changed before uploading, and they asked me to link a statement they would write in the description. But that's so weird. As you saw earlier, Melody had posted a tweet calling him out, saying, I'm hurt Nux posted his doxing vid. He flagrantly disregarded our team's feelings and the facts our security department shared with him. I trusted and defended him only to feel secondary to getting clicks. If he meant to raise awareness to protect streamers, he would have corrected it. But she, as well as Gunrun and Phoenix, were in a call with Nux for 4 hours. This wasn't just confusion anymore. Someone was lying here. After these DMs would leak thanks to Fruit, Project Melody would delete her tweet because of the hate she would start getting. And shortly afterwards, apologies would start raining in. Fruit would say, Nux apologized to me privately yesterday as I apologized to him for subtweeting, and others would follow suit. Except one person in particular who was practically seen as the biggest backstabber in all this, Project Melody. She didn't make any public statements or apologies regarding this incident, and as far as we know, did not do so privately either. Nux has never mentioned this.
CIA
it was especially
type
weird since
thing?
Nux had
Yeah.
collabed with her the most out of anyone in VShojo, and they've had a multi-year friendship. But by that point, the drama had been going on for quite a while now. The talents clearly just wanted to move on and get back to creating content, and it seemed like the community was heading in that direction too. But as things were finally starting to heal, Gunrun would make it a point to post this article on medium.com saying, "Addressing
Oh.
miscommunications, I hope this clears the air on the confusion. Let's move forward together and not spread hate." This would be an article attempting to show that VShojo already knew about the security accusations, did not condone Nux in any way, and was always behind their talents, while of course acknowledging some wrongdoings in the process. But they would refute the allegation that VShojo gave Nux approval to release his video, saying that the reality is that VShojo never at any point said that he had permission, nor were we asked. VShojo was given limited time to suggest edits and create a
Didn't they literally say thank you for making the video? Oh my goodness. This feels... My brain is exploding with all of the information.
statement. Politeness in Twitter reply text was misconstrued as approval/endorsement. Suggestions for edits were ignored beyond blurring of some names, and Phoenix makes efforts to educate Nux on why this is a bad move, which are
Gosh,
ignored.
like
But this
gatekeep
wasn't
girl
just
boss.
it. Gunrun also added more fuel to the fire by saying, "Staff's context. There is a negative
They
history
bleed,
of interaction
nuh-uh.
between VShojo and Nux that led us to proceed with extreme caution." Something that had yet again come out of nowhere because, as I said earlier, people were under the impression that they were all friends. Gunrun would then post the full conversations that Nux had shown in his video, and in the first one it would be Phoenix imploring Nux not to fall for the bait of that one fan who reached out to him because it's not random. Their MO is to do this good cop, bad cop thing. But Nux wasn't having any of it. He was convinced it was a fan, he wasn't being socially engineered at any point. This showed us that Nux was stubborn, and even though he understood some aspects of doxing, was very naive, sure. But never at any point in time did Phoenix express that he didn't want Nux to release the video, only sending him timestamps to change things. Gunrun would conclude this by saying, "We hope clearing the air here with our context helps put this drama behind all of us. I'm understanding of Nux stance and hope our detailing from our side helps put everything into context. We do not wish to see this matter escalate further. Do not send hate or harassment to anyone. We're looking forward to continuing work as usual and hope all fandoms can see the many perspectives of this complicated interaction between VShojo and Nux. Thanks everyone for reading. Gunrun." Of course, as is the trend with this controversy, people were left even more confused after reading this. When you say something like "thank you,"
And I'm sorry, please don't take me laughing to be anything like... How do I put it? When I get really confused or I'm nervous about something, I'll laugh. Please do not take my laughter as anything bad. I'm sorry. I really hope that it doesn't seem that way. You had no clue what's happening? You were playing Dead by Daylight the whole time? Man, I love Dead by Daylight.
you Nux for working with us. How is that not a way of you saying that you approve of the video? It just didn't make any sense. Finally, Nux would post a video titled "Moving Forward" on his second channel and would detail how throughout the entire week of him releasing the video, he was barely sleeping, having anxiety attacks, and overall really showing us that no one here, including the VShojo talents, had a good time. But even though I'm sure many people were hoping that things would die down there were still way too many questions surrounding this whole incident. A lot of things simply didn't make any sense, causing many YouTubers like Turkey Tom to make videos about this whole mystery surrounding this incident and garnering over 1.2 million views. People weren't satisfied with how this concluded, and you can see that the top reply on Gunrun's post to Medium was Omni saying, "At least apologize to the dude? He got dragged for the past 2 days, and the deleted thank you tweet made it even worse. Nux took accountability, only fair to do the same, methinks." People had many theories as to what had happened.
Oh my god, you know how long? How long it's been since I've heard "methinks"? That just unlocked, like, internet history for me. Oh my goodness. My neurons are just activated seeing "methinks."
Worse, Nux took accountability, only fair to do the same, methinks. People had many theories as to what had happened, how this miscommunication could have occurred. One of the most common ones that was even mentioned in Turkey Tom's video about the situation was that
Methinks you're old.
Nuxtaku was in the
I
process of
don't
founding his own VTuber
Shut
agency at the time. VShojo's management saw this as a threat, so they took the opportunity to character assassinate him in public, making him seem very problematic and making other VTubers not want to associate with him. Now look, I'll admit, when I first heard this theory, I thought, come on, this is way too far-fetched. But you have to remember that the VTubing scene back then was so much smaller than it is today. And Nux was at the absolute top. The guy had 2 million subscribers as a VTuber. He knew everyone in the scene. No one
He
didn't
must be
know who
laughing
he was.
right now.
He could have so
Maybe.
easily made an agency that directly competed with VShojo. But with VShojo's management, as well as Project Melody, his friend of multiple years, truly stoop this low in order to take down a potential competitor? Honestly, as someone who's covered the VTubing industry for a while now, that's not even the craziest thing I heard this week. But I think if we're going to take a more realistic approach with all the evidence we currently have, then what most likely happened is that VShojo was totally down with the idea of letting Nux post the video. This tweet was sincere. However, when management saw how much this pissed off the talent, how they were completely against the idea of this video, they did a full 180, deleted the tweet, and backstabbed Nux.
I was gonna say, like, they should have communicated with the talents, like, first and foremost, like, are you okay with all this coming out? Because it will bring, like, you know, it will bring attention your way, and it might not be all good attention type thing. But it's just like, oh no, one of them wasn't there, you know? And now I'm all like, uh-oh, this is reminding me of, court issues. VShojo talking to their talents less likely than you think. Oh no, is it gonna be like later on in the video? It's like they just left them on red for like 2 years or something.
Nux into being the fall guy so that they wouldn't piss off their talents. When reading Nyanner's messages, it seemed like she had a very strong negative impression of Nux, saying things like, he doesn't care about helping us. If he did, he would have listened to several of our concerns when it came to how he treats people and uses them for content. Something echoed by other VShojo talents when it came to criticizing him. It seemed like someone was getting some very wrong information, and maybe Nux wasn't the only victim here, the talents were too, they just had no idea. Regardless though, back then, no one really bothered delving that deep, instead preferring to go either Team Nux or Team VShojo, with Team Nux claiming that Nux had done nothing wrong, that he was the victim here, and with Team VShojo being convinced that Nux is a clout chaser that doesn't care about anyone but himself. The whole thing would truly stain VShojo's reputation and show them as unprofessional. How could they ever compete with the likes of Hololive when they never had such weird petty drama? How could they compete with Nijisanji when none of the talents would ever dare to make a public statement criticizing another VTuber like that? Maybe talent freedom was a mistake. With just one controversy, VShojo had gone from hopeful contender to yet another talent agency that could never compete with the professionalism of Japan. But hey, while this would definitely be damaging to their reputation and be brought up multiple times by haters in the future, the internet has very short-term memory. Give it one or...
You know what? This whole image is just, what's wrong with Pine? This is just it. I don't remember. My brain forgets. That is everything. I don't even remember what I ate today, man. I know I ate a lot, I just don't remember what I ate. I should, you know, I should keep like one of those little food journals again. I used to keep one, but then I just kind of got bored of it. Maybe I should keep doing that.
For 2 weeks, and even the most major dramas get forgotten. And so after 2021 had ended, VShojo had somewhat been able to put itself back on the map in a very strong way. During 2022, Iron Mouse, a VTuber under VShojo, would grow so quickly that even the mainstream outside of the VTubing community was made aware of her existence. On February 5th, 2022, she would hold her first ever subathon, streaming for 30 days straight and garnering over 171,000 Twitch subscribers. That equates to over $850,000 before Twitch takes their cut. Articles like this were being written about her, saying that she was breaking all kinds of Twitch records. By that point, you'd see people who didn't even...
I remember seeing her angel model for the first time. I just thought it was the most gorgeous thing in the world. It's so pretty. I love the details and the colors. I loved how they did the eyes. It's just so pretty. I love the little heart for her hair as well. It's so pretty. It's just so pretty.
Know what VTubing was, hearing about Iron Mouse's success. And if you didn't, well, VShojo made it a goal to make you hear about her and every other talent in the roster, enlisting Crunchyroll to interview every single one of them while having them talk about their favorite animes of all time. But that's not all. When it came to VTuber related awards, the VShojo girls were dominating, with the Streamy Awards having 5 nominees and 4 of them being from VShojo. That's not all though, because the Streamer Awards would have 4 nominees and 3 of them would end up being from VShojo. They wouldn't win that year, but it was still very notable. But regardless, the efforts of these talents, including Iron Mouse's very successful subathon, the VShojo girls being nominated practically everywhere, and VShojo's efforts to make marketing a priority ended up being somewhat of a success, because the CEO was able to raise over $11 million for the company. More specifically, during seed funding led by Athos Capital with participation from GFR Funds and Green Bay Ventures. Yes, VShojo, a VTuber talent agency, had somehow secured an 8-figure funding round from Venture Capital, infamously known for wanting to get their money back no matter what, and also only known to invest in companies with long-term growth potential. They didn't just invest in anything, which made many believe, well...
I was about to say good for them, and then I remembered the title and this whole thing. It's like, well, not good for them. Have a good night! Yeah, have a good night! I was about to say, it's really good for them, and then wait a minute.
Shit.
Not good for
must
them.
Be doing something right compared to other agencies because wow, that's very impressive. And Gunrun, of course, with this announcement showed huge confidence, saying VTubers are the future of the content creator industry. Adding, since the medium is built upon animated personas, it is more accessible and scalable than being a traditional creator, especially as the technology becomes more widespread. With the funding from Athos Capital, we are now in a better position to support and grow talent in this market with more innovative technology, extensive promotion, and the ability to assist with content creation and distribution. So this money was going to go towards specifically growing their existing talent roster, pretty much any VTuber's dream at the time. And speaking of VTubers, a few months after raising $11 million, VShojo would add 2 more talents to its roster, marking their first major expansion since recruiting Veibe in 2021, adding both Keisan and Amamiya Nazuna to their roster. And what made these talents special is that they were based in Japan and spoke Japanese most of the time on their streams, showing us that VShojo wasn't just interested in English speakers, they were interested in this talent-first approach globally. With Gunrun saying that this expansion will break down barriers in VTuber, and it kinda did. On her first stream after joining VShojo, Amamiya Nazuna would get over 30,000 concurrent viewers on her Twitch stream, while Keisan would also receive just as many, if not a bit more, with her YouTube debut being at almost 1 million views today. At the same time, VShojo wasn't lying. They were truly putting those $11 million to use, putting their existing talent at the center of some very cool projects, be it animated music videos or just straight up general marketing. By the end of 2022, VShojo was yet again seen as an agency that could someday compete directly with Hololive and Nijisanji if they weren't already. Yeah, sure, they've been through a very big controversy with Nux that put everything into question, but whatever, that's behind us. They got 2 more talents, raised over $11 million, and were doing some amazing things that made everyone else envious. Things could only get better from here, right? Well, you know how it goes. Good times don't last forever. And very shortly after 2023 had begun, VShojo would find itself in such an unpleasant situation that to many, it seemed like this was going to be their biggest existential threat yet. Harry Potter is a series of books that needs no introduction. It's critically acclaimed across the world.
Oh my
the same
goodness,
can be said about the movies that were...
My brother was obsessed with Harry Potter for some time. He grew up with the books coming out, and I remember being sat down real young to watch the movies with him, and I just couldn't stay awake for some of them. I just kept passing out. That's one cutaway, yeah. Oh no, not
books.
the...
This, of course, resulted in having a very large and extremely passionate fan base all across the globe. The person behind these books is none other than J.K. Rowling. And for most of her career, she was loved by pretty much anyone who loved Harry Potter. Her humble background, as well as her authenticity, truly made it hard to dislike her. But then one day, just like many other celebrities, she decided to take the decision of splitting her audience in half by becoming political. You see, in 2011, the Syrian population would revolt against its current regime. The result would be a civil war that would last for over a decade, destroying huge chunks of the country and spreading Syrian refugees all across the world. It would be dubbed the Syrian refugee crisis, and at a certain point, political voices in Europe specifically would start expressing that the infrastructure of their countries could barely support their current population, that they were not fit to take in so many millions of refugees, trying their best to stop them. J.K. Rowling would see this and would take the decision to use her platform to show solidarity with every single refugee coming to her country, tweeting, "If you can't imagine yourself in one of those boats," the boats the refugees were using, "you have something missing. They are dying for a life worth living. #refugees welcome." Half her audience found her to be hypocritical, saying things like, "Well, if you want refugees, then why don't you take any in your massive mansion?" And the other half was fully in support, praising her and really admiring the fact that she would use her platform for such a humanitarian cause. 5 years later, though, J.K. Rowling would take on a stance that wouldn't
I'm just so
split her
scared.
audience in
I know
half.
where this
It
is
would more
going. It's
accurately
going
shatter
with the
them into
Hogwarts Legacy
1,000
game.
pieces.
I know
So
where
it's
this is
criticizing an
going.
article for using the term
I know
people
where
who
this is
menstruate,
going, and I'm
saying,
so
"I'm sure there used to
scared."
be a word for those people. Someone help me out. Wumben, wimpend, wumid," implying that there's a word for this. It's called women, and that people who menstruate is a silly term. People, specifically the audience that had supported her so staunchly during her 2015 moral stance, were outraged. But J.K. Rowling doubled down, tripled down, quadrupled down. Honestly,
Foreshadowing is a narrative
went all the way to
device.
the moon,
Yep.
saying things like, "If sex isn't real, there's no same-sex attraction. If sex isn't real, the lived reality of women globally is erased. I know and love trans people, but erasing the concept of sex removes the ability of many to meaningfully discuss their lives. It isn't hate to speak the truth." Over the years, she wouldn't let this topic go, and this would result in her creating a substantial amount of haters that used to be her ex-fans, ones that were particularly very loud on the internet. So on September 16th, 2020, when Hogwarts Legacy, a game developed by Warner Bros., was announced, Harry Potter fans all around the world were extremely excited because this actually looked good. It wasn't one of those crap movie games
look like a
that
good
looked like they were done
game.
on a budget over a year. You'd actually be able to explore Hogwarts here and actually become a
Can you
wizard
tell I'm
just like in
scared?
the movies and the books. But when the game was heading towards its release on February 10th, 2023, those J.K. Rowling haters had another idea. This post on Gaming Circle Jerk would be one of many, saying, "A friendly reminder from your mod team that this woman is a TERF and anyone who pledges to support her monetarily is also a transphobe." TERF being an acronym meaning Trans Exclusionary Radical Feminist, a term that J.K. Rowling had used openly in order to describe her beliefs. This post was made by a mod of the Gaming Circle Jerk subreddit and drew over 4,000
A
comments.
full-ass
This wasn't the
mod?
only subreddit or community that echoed these statements. And so when the game came out and actually had an astounding success, those people boycotting the game shifted their attention to the people who bought it. More specifically, people who were making content about it, helping spread the word about how good of a game it was. This is when the Hogwarts Legacy harassment campaign would begin. And you had people like this
Oh,
individual
no.
make an entire website where you could put the username of a streamer and it would
A whole ass search engine to find out if your streamer had played the game. That. Oh wow. Okay.
tell you if they played that wizard game. This was taken to the absolute extreme. And here's just one example. The channel Girlfriend Reviews features a couple playing
Oh no. I remember how bad this was. I actually have seen some of their content. I've seen a few videos and they seemed so wholesome. And oh God. I remember how bad this was. Like, didn't they had to like end the stream because of how bad the harassment got, and there was literally a donation link for like LGBTQ, that whole thing. Like, it's just, oh no. It's so scared. I'm just scared. I am scared.
games, and the
scared.
chat was harassing them so much throughout their playthrough that the girlfriend in question started crying and ended the stream. Bear in mind,
Yeah.
this was a streamer who had a donation link to a charity that helped the LGBT directly. But these
What?
fanatics made no differentiation. And one of the people who had suffered the most from harassment
Oh
and
no.
other disgusting things in relation to her playing the game was none other than the VShojo talent Silverveil, being absolutely harassed to tears just for having played the game. Here's a clip of that in which she describes what she's been
Silver cannot catch a break. She really can't. It seems like one thing after another. I do not blame her for not wanting to do collabs or anything. I do not blame her. If I got sucked over as much as she has, I would stay in my like little hole forever as well. I would never trust anyone again.
going through just for having launched that game on stream. Watch.
horrible, vile things, all from streaming a fucking video game.
So this wasn't just harassment. This was doxing, attempts to dox her personal information, successful attempts to maybe dox her friends. I don't want to imagine the things she was receiving in DMs, for example.
Yeah, it's just
and
horrible.
this isn't just some crying. This is intense crying. Like, she's been going through it. Of course, some of the amazing individuals who were behind this movement would see this clip on Twitter and would have some very productive things to say. Like, this is a volcano lava hot take, but this action should be encouraged. Or boohoo plus cry louder plus maybe listen to trans and Jewish people. But
That is insane! I'm sorry. That's just... It's insane to me. To sign, like, off on doxing and everything. Because someone played a game. That is... I don't even know. I don't even know how to react to that, I'm gonna be honest.
what was really
I
interesting
don't.
here was the approach that both VShojo and some of its talents took when Silverveil was practically at one of the lowest points of her content creation career. One of the only people who would speak out in support of Silverveil was actually Iron Mouse, saying nobody deserves to feel threatened and live in fear every day of their life. That is not right. Specifying that there are ways to support the LGBTQ+ in positive ways, while hoping that people become a little kinder to each other. But here's where things get very tricky.
It would be nice if Silver was part of a company. You'll back her up. She was. But I'm pretty sure VShojo did not care at all that she was being, like, harassed or anything. I'm pretty sure they said absolutely nothing about the whole situation. Which is just crazy to me.
Around the time this harassment campaign was taking place, Fruit, who is another VShojo talent, would tweet, "It costs me $0 every day to be kind and accept people for who they are. So for every like this tweet gets, I'm donating $1 to Mermaids, a charity that supports gender..."
Wait a minute. How close? You're being sarcastic? I'm sorry. My brain is so bad. Can I be honest about something? It took me so long. I still struggle with this. But since I was a child, I've had people to, like, have to explain to me that things are sarcastic or a joke because I just take everything as literal as possible all the time. Just as little as possible all the time. And I had people that, like, worked with me on it, but I still, like, mess up, like, things like that. So I'm sorry.
Other VShojo talent would tweet, "It costs me campaign was a little kinder to each other." But here's where things get very tricky. Around the time this harassment campaign was taking place, Fruit, who is another VShojo talent, would tweet, "It costs me $0 every day to be kind and accept people for who they are. So for every like this tweet gets, I'm donating $1 to Mermaids, a
You can't, I'm sorry, you can't say that. I'm gonna have to get rid of that comment. Just yoink. We can't be saying that.
charity that supports gender diverse children. Seeing that no one except for Iron Mouse had said anything about Silverveil being harassed, and this was the closest thing that Fruit had said about this situation, people
Also, that is... Doesn't it... I feel like I have a tinfoil hat on, but that just seems like subtweeting. I don't know. She's a part of the same agency, knows what's going on. It feels like subtweeting. It feels malicious, but again, I take things too literally. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe I'm, like, overthinking.
immediately assumed that this was Fruit subtweeting Silverveil, giving her sort of a middle finger, so to speak. Now, of course, Fruit would quote tweet this tweet 12 hours later and specify, "My twin brother means the world to me more than anyone. It means a lot to me to support and protect people like him any way I can. If there's a better transgender supporting charity to donate to, I can just switch. It's not that deep."
Then I guess
So
I'm
yeah,
overthinking.
Fruit probably saw everything going on surrounding Hogwarts Legacy and decided, you know what, instead of hate, let's just donate. Let's just use money to donate to this cause. But of course, by that time, it was too late. People had already made up their mind about this tweet, and it made many assume, oh, wait a second, is there trouble at home at VShojo? Are the talents not all friends? What else are they hiding from us? And what didn't help at all is that during this time period, VShojo had said nothing. They were in complete and utter radio silence. They had not come out in support of Silvervale. They had not commented on Fruit's tweet. And it made people start questioning, why is Silvervale even in an agency? Because right now it's as if she's an indie VTuber being harassed all along and not having the support of anyone, including her own
feels like
agency.
that.
Because in the end, she was a VShojo talent. And her being harassed like this was ruining her reputation in some way, which also in turn ruined VShojo's reputation and the talents within it. In fact, regarding Silvervale, the only thing we'd hear would only be a couple months later in a shock announcement that no one was expecting. It would be VShojo posting this on April 26, 2023, saying, to our community, Silvervale and Vey have chosen not to renew their contracts at VShojo. We respect their decision.
Staying silent's still a choice. Exactly. There are some things where if you're staying silent, you chose a side. That's just how some things are. You can't fence it on every situation. If you, there is some things where you have to say your piece and your side, or it seems like you already picked your own side. Silver wasn't a company? No way, game.
And want to thank them for helping make VShojo what it is today. They will also retain their IP so they can continue as the creators you love. We wish them the best on the next leg of their journey. Sincerely, the VShojo team. So look, by 2023, when it came to graduations, people were used to how Nijisanji and Hololive did them, which was one at a time, spaced out, with a graduation stream in which talents say goodbye. This was an absolute shock on every level, not to mention that a founding member and the first external member to have joined the company were both leaving. And as soon as this announcement had come out, they would quote tweet it with this image of her in Silvervale saying, "Indie bitches." Naturally, seeing how rare a double graduation was and seeing this quote tweet made many people question what was going on and come up with
two-in-one
conspiracy
graduation.
theories. So hours later, Vey would clarify, since this post got so much traction and people are speculating as to why I have left and blaming other talent for it, it's nothing like that at all. I left because new contracts didn't make any financial sense to me. So you see, again, there was this rumor that the talent at VShojo was not in agreement, that the girls were fighting, especially with the conspiracy theories running rampant over Fruit's tweet in regards to Silvervale. Vey would continue, I can't speak for Silver because we didn't leave together. We were just announced on the same day. Can't say much else because of legal shit and stuff, but please be kind to everyone involved. Don't make weird rumors up to control your own narrative. TLDR, left because new contract, no good. And for all indies, always hire a lawyer to read through any contract, however minor it may seem. I know it's a scary process to think about, but you'll be so fucking thankful down the line. Hire lawyers that know what the
definitely hire lawyers.
Okay, have a nice day, you fuck.
Hire lawyers.
So this was her attempt to completely kill any speculation or conspiracy theories surrounding her graduation. She just wanted to move on as soon as possible. Silvervale would echo the same exact statement on her stream, saying this, watch.
Anyone missed the announcement? Vey and I are both leaving. We were announced the same day.
We love lawyers. Can we get a W icicle? We love lawyers here. W icicle.
Just being announced on the exact same day.
So this whole thing was kind of messy. Why announce two talents at the same time and have to make them both make separate statements saying, guys, it just so happens that we both wanted to leave the company and they announced us on the same day. It was definitely a shock, but hey, at least VShojo kept their word. They would be keeping their IP. This wasn't a graduation in the traditional sense because nothing would be changing. They would continue streaming just like they did before joining VShojo. And so as soon as people were starting to finally process this news and maybe even start to move on, just a few days later, VShojo would come up with another bombshell saying,
she was oh wow.
To our community, we'd
Isn't
like to
that
inform you that Nyanners has
how
decided
much of their
not to renew her
talent
contract
leaving?
with VShojo. We fully support her decision and are grateful for her contributions to the growth of VShojo. Nyanners will retain her IP, ensuring she can carry on as the beloved creator you know. We wish her the best in her future endeavors. Sincerely, the VShojo team. This was another complete shock. Okay, look.
I'm sorry. Making that a spirit Halloween is so funny. That is such a funny tweet. I'm sorry. That's so silly.
Listen, one founding member, the first member to join, and another founding member in the span of 1 week? Nyanners would release her own statement saying, after much consideration, I've decided not to renew my contract with VShojo and return to being an indie. This decision is my own and not a reflection of my relationship with any of the other members, and it is something I have been seriously deliberating for a while. I'm deeply appreciative of all the opportunities that being a member of VShojo has presented over the past 2 years and wish everyone, staff and fellow talent alike, all the best. While this change likely comes as a surprise, it won't change who I am, any of my content, or who I choose to collaborate with moving forward. My streams will continue as usual. I'm looking forward to seeing what the future will bring in this new chapter. Thank you.
Again, this is just like This is a lot of PR speak, I think. Oh, the little one is up. I'm sorry. This is very much PR speak. I wonder if they had a hand on writing this end part, you know?
Thank you all for your support and understanding, Nyaners. So again, dispelling the rumor that no, this is not because other talent in the agency is pissing me off or is being toxic. This is my own decision and I'm leaving with no drama. I just want to put this behind me. But how can we just put this behind us and move on so easily when so many members had left in just the span of a few days?
Yeah. That is quite a cut of members. Yeah, that's 30%, I'm pretty sure. If the little one keeps going, though, I'm gonna have to end up making this like a part 1 and part 2. I don't want her to be panicked the whole night. Right now, she's fine. Pine Sis is in there with her, but if she's really upset, I'm not gonna keep streaming. I'll just make this a part 1 and part 2 if I have to.
VShojo had 10 members by this point, and they had essentially lost 30% of their talent roster just like that. If the talents were truly happy, then that wouldn't have happened. So what the hell was going on? More importantly though, was anyone else going to leave as well? And that's when people understood there was a risk that Iron Mouse could leave. And if she did, this talent agency would have, without exaggeration, imploded in just a few months afterwards. So people were obviously concerned. They loved VShojo, they loved the talent there, they didn't want to see it implode. So many were asking Iron Mouse, hey, like, are you gonna stay? Are you gonna leave? To which she responded. This is a clip that was in False ID's video from over 2 years ago, in which she says that she's currently negotiating. Watch.
Have to make this very large. Good news or bad news? I don't know. I don't know if it's good news or bad news. Leaving VShojo, guys, I'm still in contract negotiations. I'm still in contract negotiations?
So this definitely didn't reassure her audience or any.
Yeah, it makes sense to still be in contract negotiations, but the whole thing of being, what they said about made no financial sense. What I think is going on, possibly, it might be, now this is just my tinfoil hat, that they signed them on with like really, really good, like too good to be true contracts for like their own earnings and like not them taking any profits in a lot of things. And then they kind of just realized, oh, we're not making any money. We gotta put on a lot more restrictions. So people left? That's what I'm thinking. Maybe. Like, they realized they weren't making money, so they're like, hey, we're gonna actually need a lot more of your income. And the talent's just being like, no, I'd rather not, you know?
Anyone who was a fan of VShojo. Iron Mouse was in contract negotiations. 3 talents had just left. If she leaves too, we can safely say the agency's not really going anywhere. So without exaggeration, it was facing an existential threat. And seeing how often people would see VTuber agencies establish themselves then literally fall apart within a few months, the same fate awaiting VShojo didn't really seem that far-fetched.
VShojo lying?
Because shortly after this, in the summer of 2023, VShojo would begin a new chapter that would thrust it straight into its golden age, where it finally became a global contender. One could say that VShojo started taking their first steps towards a golden age barely 10 days after Nyaners had officially left the company. Yes, even though the entire agency's future was being put into question, they managed to surprise everyone on May 11th, 2023, when they would announce that they'd be adding the first English-speaking VTuber to their roster since Pinebaby in 2021. And that VTuber would be Henya the Genius. Someone who already was very beloved and had one hell of a fan base in another corporation and had left it recently, not being able to keep her IP and restarting in VShojo. And one of the many things that made her special is that she was both fluent in English and Japanese, which helped her further bridge the gap between VShojo and their Japanese subsidiary. But the agency wasn't done here. Just barely a few months later, they would also recruit yet another new member by the name of Giga, another independent VTuber that was already established and had a fan base that was going to follow her into VShojo. What made these two talents special is that they weren't problematic at all. If anything, they were wholesome and well liked by the community. This was VShojo heading in the right direction, but it was them barely getting started. You see, at the time, one couldn't simply ignore just how big Nijisanji's English branch had gotten. Just like their main competitor Hololive, they had established some very well-known house.
some of these names I recognize, and then like some of them I'm like, uh-oh, didn't that one do something not so good in the game? If you know, you know. Yep. Yeah. Just oh no.
Told names in the VTubing
No.
industry, and with them came very passionate and sometimes rabid fan bases that would do anything to show their love to their idols. In other words, they bought any merch you threw at them, okay? They were money printers. So when some talents started to all of a sudden start leaving Nijisanji around the end of 2023, VShojo would take notice and take full advantage of the situation, announcing the recruitment of a new member very shortly after Giga. This time, it was Kuro, an ex-Nijisanji VTuber that had a very loyal fan base and had an established
Oh my
identity in the
goodness.
scene.
Yeah.
But they were on a roll.
I remember like how bad and like just unhappy and unwelcoming the old fan base was while they were a part of let's say Wendy's, because I don't want to get into any trouble. While they were a part of like Wendy's, I remember trying to check out their streams, and I just saw some of the like community and some of the comments were just like way too much, and it's just like, oh, I hope the person's okay behind like the screen, because that stuff would have weighed on me like crazy, like really bad. He was a homie as the drive-thru worker.
Because barely
Yeah.
2 weeks afterwards, they would announce yet
He
another
could meal
member
prep
joining,
like no one else,
Matara-kan,
man.
also being a very well-established ex-Nijisanji member. These two would have an indescribable positive impact on VShojo's PR.
Matara!
Kuro would bring in some much-needed humor and
I love
expertise
Matara's
from his days at
voice.
Nijisanji running a big fan base, and Matara would come in to act like some sort of a maternal figure to the VShojo talent roster, balancing the chaotic energy exhibited by the rest of the roster. All this would serve as the building blocks, as the foundation to the most important moment in VShojo's
But it is so unfortunate. Oh no, I'm just thinking of the future. I'm just thinking of the future. I'm like, oh no, they left one really bad workplace into another, you know? Like, oh, I
when
feel
they
so
would take
bad for
complete
them.
advantage of the downfall of one of their biggest competitors. On February 2024, we would witness the biggest PR disaster in VTuber history, when Selon Tatsuki, one of Nijisanji's English VTubers, would attempt to leave this planet twice, citing the toxic work
Yeah.
culture at Nijisanji as the main reason.
And didn't they, Neji Sanji, like, CEO or whatever, say it would have been negligible, her being gone? I'm so glad that, like, it genuinely, like, went so horrible for, Wendy's. I don't know. Because saying that when somebody, like, attempted to take their own life because of how bad a situation was is so horrid. I could not imagine. I can only imagine. Like, imagine how I'm thinking of is being in that headspace. I've been in that sort of headspace before, and then being told that, like, you not being there would be negligible. That would have sent me spiraling. Hi, Angel. Hi, welcome in.
And instead of trying to fix or even
Thank you
salvage
for
the
the raid.
situation, Nijisanji decided to terminate her. What would follow would be mass graduations of the English branch of Nijisanji, and their reputation would never get close to recovering. VShojo would see this and would take this opportunity to devour Nijisanji's massive rotting corpse in order to replace them and claim their spot of top 2 VTuber agency competing directly with Hololive. On April 2024, they would recruit Michi Mochievi, another very well-beloved and established ex-Nijisanji
I feel
talent.
like every time they show up, I just go, happy face, Michi! Happy face, Matara! Happy face, Kura! Just happy face, and I remember when I'm watching and I'm like, oh no! Sad face!
And what would happen afterwards is the complete and full redemption of VShojo's reputation. You see, these ex-Nijisanji talents like Michi would go on to praise how happy they are at VShojo in comparison to their previous workplace, being Nijisanji, saying that they've never worked at a place like this before, that their past workplace made them feel terrible, and that here they feel valued.
Oh
They feel like an actual
no!
person. We also would hear something very
Oh,
shocking. The
no.
fact that Kuro had over 350,000 British pounds in tax debt. because apparently his previous company, Nijisanji, would tell him that they'll handle taxes for him and take a cut from his paycheck, only to end up not paying a single dollar. He was essentially
Isn't
scammed.
that
So he reached out to Iron
illegal?
Mouse for help in order to figure out what was
I
going
guess-
on, and
I
she
don't know.
referred him to the CEO of
If it's not in the
VShojo,
contract,
Gunrun,
I guess
who
it's
personally
not.
took the time out of his day to help him and put him in touch with an accountant and eventually recruited him into VShojo. I mean, guys, at this point, can we just stop calling him Gunrun? Can we call him Gun Angel? Because, I mean, seriously, VShojo seemed to be the complete opposite
no.
of Nijisanji. This same rhetoric was echoed by Matara in a discussion with Kuro, in which they were reminiscing how their former company mentally affected them and how happy they are at VShojo today. I mean, look, by that point, this sentiment was pretty common to find. People felt that VShojo was the savior of the VTuber industry, the agency correcting Nijisanji's mistakes and treating their talent like actual human beings, with no toxic
07,
workplace
very,
and no predatory contracts. And seeing that
so
Iron Mouse had
no.
extended her contract with them, they had essentially gone from being a company facing an existential
You
threat
know, this
to
feels
being
like-
on top of the
This feels like being a time traveler and just watching everything go up in flames. That's what exactly this feels like. Oh, you know that one Interstellar meme? That's what it feels like. The one Interstellar clip.
world, and
Oh.
things were only getting started for their golden age. Iron Mouse would keep beating records and would get interviewed by the Rolling Stone. Keisan would audition to be in the game Yakuza Like
Whoa. It looks inevitable, yeah. Gunman had to run as a Twitch CEO. She is so gorgeous. She is. Oh, my phone is going to die. She caused my phone to die. She is that gorgeous that she caused my phone to start dying. But oh my goodness, she is so pretty. She is so pretty.
a Dragon
I
and would
love her
successfully manage to
hair.
get in.
I love her
VShojo was opening up
earrings.
art
I love it
galleries in
all.
Japan, showcasing art of their
So
VTubers.
pretty.
And Iron Mouse would successfully become the most subscribed to channel on Twitch of all time, giving away half the money she raised to the Immune Deficiency Foundation, a charity that means a lot to her since she suffers from CVID, a condition that weakens her immune system to the point where she can't even
Face
go
on the
out.
go.
This foundation aims to find a cure. And seeing how much this meant to her, the CEO would personally bring her on a walk for the Immune Deficiency Foundation, using one hell of a high-tech setup where she can see everything that's happening through this camera. But that's not all. I mean, Gunrun would care so much about his talents that he would personally accompany Iron Mouse when she would win the Best VTuber Award in the Streamer Awards at the end of 2023. And if that wasn't enough to impress you, then maybe their global marketing campaigns would. Plastering the faces of all their talents in Japan, more specifically
does
a
that
metro station in
cost?
Shinjuku. I mean, guys, by this
Can we
point,
imagine that
everyone,
being
whether big
a
or
lot
small
of
as a
money?
content creator, wanted a piece of VShojo. The idea of joining such an agency that held their talents to such high regards and would give every talent a manager to handle day-to-day tasks while they would focus on what was important to them simply sounded amazing. It seemed that this talent freedom approach was truly working, and VShojo knew exactly what they were doing. But hold your horses. I mean, this success does come with a price. Yes, there is such a
Auditions.
thing as suffering from success, and VShojo was about to find that out. Seeing that everyone wanted to join them, many were wondering what had happened to the audition form that was posted back in 2021. Was that simply to recruit an already established independent streamer like Veibe? Many would start making a joke that VShojo was nothing more than a glorified Nijisanji retirement home. That, or they would just hire friends, that they were a nepotism-centric company. The problem was that this criticism didn't
Sorry,
reach
the
the company, it
retirement
would reach the
home.
talents directly, causing someone like Zentreya to reach a breaking point. With her tweeting this out during July 2024, saying, "Heartbreaking and disheartening to see so many people pushing the idea of Zen friends only when each person I found had to work their way to the top regardless. I have other friends who don't want to join who are working their asses off and doing amazing things. I even pushed management to open auditions again finally after so long and to scout for new and upcoming people to mesh with. I wanted to meet new people and let the others get a sense for them as well and see who would fit into the puzzle. Then I came to a realization that even if we bring in a new person, people will claim we focused on new people instead of helping others who are halfway to success, or other
you
larger
can't
creators
really
be a part
win
of something fun.
with the
Either
whatever
way
you
is a loss. I just wanted to
choose
do right
in
and help
that
smaller and up and
situation.
coming as well as the potential to bring someone on the rise. Management and Gunrun are working their butts off to do all of this, and now I feel as though I made a mistake in doing this. Who knows? But I hope you all still try because I started from the bottom too and I put in the work." This tweet was made in reference to VShojo finally reopening applications after 3 years on July 10th, 2024, a day before Zentreya's tweet.
Doesn't it just kind of feel like a damned if you do, damned if you don't type of thing? I'm pretty sure everyone and their mother applied. I remember helping a friend at the time apply for VShojo. Like everybody was applying.
And putting aside the fact that some talents were literally getting harassed over this was actually a net positive for VShojo. You had droves of undiscovered talented VTubers, established VTubers, big, medium, small VTubers, all wanting to join your agency because goddamn, you guys were doing a great job. I mean, this post alone had over 5 million views, over 1,000 replies, with some very big independent VTubers commenting on it. If you hadn't noticed yet, this is what a golden age looks like. And around 5 months later, Amelie, who is a very well-established voice actor, VTuber, and singer, would make the announcement that she was joining VShojo. This was of course huge for the agency, but at the same time, Amelie noticed that there were some replies that were fairly negative about her joining. Feeling the need to specify, this reveal has been in the works for almost a year and a half. And just to clear up any confusion, I was not a part of the auditions, but I'm so excited for the future debuts of new members. This is simply how badly people were clawing at the chance of joining this agency. She had to actually specify.
I understand,
but
okay?
VShojo had made an entire subsidiary in Japan, not just for Kei-san and Amamiya Nazuna. They had very big plans for the country in which VTubing originated in. At the end of 2024, they teased 4 different Japanese talents joining their roster, this time under a wave or a team called VShojo Nova. And by the beginning of July 2025, they would unveil it, launch it alongside Universal Music Group. This wasn't just yet another VTuber wave, these were superstars in the making. I mean, at this point, maybe Gunrun saying back in 2020 that VShojo was going to be a new era of VTubing
I'm trying to
wasn't so
grab my
far-fetched.
charger
Not only
from
were
my
they on top of
tracking,
the world, but now they were considered a
so I
direct
can keep
competitor
my
to
model up.
Hololive and someone who had very easily
But I'm
outdone
listening.
Michisanji.
I'm
The
still
sky
paying
was the
attention,
limit,
don't
and
worry.
if this company became worth $1 billion in the coming years, no one would have been surprised. But you see, speaking about money, how
Silver
did
can
they
never catch a
make
break.
it
It's so
exactly?
sad.
You see, this was a question that would start to be asked as early as 2023. Agencies typically took a cut of sponsors, donations,
I got the charger in.
subs, and merch from talents
Should
in
be
order to
fine
sustain
now.
their business.
Apologies.
But VShojo would only do so, as far as we knew, whenever they brought in a sponsor and whenever there was merch on the line, never taking any of the donations or sub money of their talents. I personally got the chance to speak with someone notable in the content creator industry, and they told me that VShojo for them was a red flag since 2023, truly wondering how this company even functioned and made money. This Redditor right here was also wondering the same thing, and I mean, look at the top comment. It said, I think there's a running joke about this because I swear I've seen Henya, Kei-san, and Giga all commenting, I have no idea how VShojo makes money.
Oh, do you think... Is my tinfoil hat theory correct? That they offer really crazy, amazingly good first sign-on contracts for a lot of their new, like, talent, and then they swap it up later? Just, no.
Their contracts are really good. I'm sure there's a really good explanation, but my headcanon is that Gunrun and VShojo really just enjoy what they do and don't make a ton of money doing it, but live comfortably enough because their hobby is being support for the talents. But by that point, VShojo was so well established that people who were asking these questions, who were showing these concerns, were simply called stupid and people moved on. This would of course be the sentiment until the end of their golden age, when cracks in the company would start being very hard to ignore and multiple very shocking announcements would be made.
But does he
On
know
March
me?
6th, 2025, Matara-kan would tweet this, saying, "Today's the day. Momos, send me your energy. I need it." She didn't really specify further, but it seemed like it was a very important day for her and she was asking her community to send her good vibes. We wouldn't hear from her again until 2 days later, on March 8th, in which she would tweet out, "Hey everyone, as I said on stream today, I'll be taking an immediate emergency time off. Some things came up that I cannot address right now, but I promise you, you will know soon enough. All is good, I am good, I just need to deal with it all ASAP. I love you, Momos." Now look, at this point people were hoping for the best. It's not the first time a big VTuber took a break like this, but it definitely seemed very sudden, and she definitely was trying very hard to reassure her community that nothing was truly wrong, except something was wrong, and we would find that out almost a month later. As the Cinder incident was taking over the entirety of the VTuber community, something else would creep up on the side, and
as soon as I saw this image, I just got hit with, like, the memory frying pan, just like, poof. You remember everything that happened, and it's like, you know? Like, what do you... Don't make me remember things!
shocked
everyone.
One day after Cinder had posted her infamous apology, VShojo would post this, saying, "Dear community members, we want to share that after careful thought and consideration, we've made the difficult decision to formally part ways with Matara on May 5th, 2025. We're genuinely grateful
they
for
just
everything she's brought to
terminated her,
VShojo and wish her the best moving forward. Goodbyes are never easy, and we understand many of you deeply care about Matara as we do. The best way to support us
Does this
both
count
right
as
now
her
is
being
with kindness,
fired?
understanding, and respect for everyone's feelings and privacy during this transition. We're committed to our incredible talent, community, and the values we share. Thank you all for your empathy and continued support." To say that people were absolutely shocked by this is an understatement. As I said, up until that point, Matara was seen as the motherly figure of the entire talent roster. She'd be someone with an
Yeah.
opinion that was highly valued in the company, and would, throughout many occasions, sing the praises of VShojo. So why the hell was she graduating, and why was it so sudden? Well, here's what she had to say about it. VShojo made the decision to part ways with me on March 6th, effective May 5th. I thank the girls, plus Kuro, for the great times we had together and the wonderful moments we shared in the last 18 months.
I'm
I
sorry
wish
if
the
you
remaining
heard that.
talent in
It
VShojo
was
the
a
best of luck in
tissue
their
for my
activities.
nose.
I love them very much, and I will carry on being their bug auntie. I will continue streaming as Matara-kan because
Bug
I am Matara-kan,
auntie!
and I hope the Momos can still cheer me on, even if I won't be Matara-kan of VShojo. So this tweet actually didn't specify much, but it gave us a couple of clues. VShojo
This
made
kind of
the
felt
decision to part ways with me.
Yeah, so it definitely was a termination. But I just don't get why they terminate her. I have no idea.
On March 6th, the same exact day she
She
said,
wasn't
"Today's the day,
controversial or
Momo, send me your
anything.
energy, I need it." 2 days before, she said, "I'm taking immediate emergency time off."
Do you think maybe she was understanding everything? Couldn't afford to pay her? Well, then wouldn't she just straight up leave? Wouldn't they not fire her? I really hope, what I hope in this situation is that they did not get signed on as contractors and that they were counted as employees. Because if they were signed on as independent contractors, they will most likely never see the money they are owed. I really hope they were not signed on as independent contractors.
But realistically, we really had no idea what was going on. It just seemed like VShojo had fired her in a way. And as people were barely recovering from what had happened with Cinder and what was now going on at VShojo, 2 weeks later, another bombshell announcement would drop. Mountain Dew, one of the co-founders of VShojo, would say, "After 5 years, I am leaving VShojo. For the
Everyone's
past 5 years,
dipping.
VShojo has been an integral part of my life and journey.
Uh-oh.
Since its inception, I have had the honor and the privilege
She wasn't
of working
making
with some of the
enough
most hardworking
numbers?
and intelligent team members,
I
and have
wouldn't-
made many friends throughout the
that's-
VTubing and streaming community. I will always cherish the time we spent together.
I don't
take
think
great pride in
that's-
my contributions to the growth of the VShojo brand, helping shape what it is today through my involvement in most of the forward-facing, large-scale media and the behind-the-scenes growth operations within the company. As of today, I am formally stepping down from my position as Chief Marketing Officer and departing the company to explore new creative endeavors. While this was a difficult decision, I believe it is the right time for me to embark on a new chapter of creative fulfillment in my life. Thank you all for the wonderful memories. See you soon, Mountain Dew." As far as we were concerned, this was a legend in the industry,
Regardless,
flexing
they're
what they had done in
part-time employees.
VShojo
I
and
really
saying
hope
goodbye in order to do bigger and better things.
that they're
Overall,
legal.
though, this post definitely
I really hope with everything that happened because I know a little bit that VShojo owes basically everybody. They most likely owe your mother some money. So tell your mother to get some legal counsel because she's gonna need it. She needs the money.
felt sudden. Why now, of all times? Why 2 weeks after Matara had left? What was going on at the company? We wouldn't get an answer. Instead, a month later, we would get yet another announcement from VShojo announcing that Giga will be parting ways with the company. On the same day this announcement would be posted, she would specify in a tweet saying, "As of June 27th, I am terminating my contract with VShojo and will be an independent creator
Oh,
once
so she
again."
quit.
This decision took a long time to come to terms with, but is definitely the best choice for my future. I love my members in VShojo more than I could ever say, and I will always be their friend and support. There is no world where I want to be without them both as a creator and as a person, and that is something that doesn't require a contract with an agency to still hold true. I'm wishing all the remaining girls
That
and our
is
dog,
true.
which is Kuro, success, always. I'd especially like to thank my manager at VShojo, Kenzo, for always doing his absolute best for me and making the most of our time working together. Love you lots. As far as my streaming goes, nothing will change from this. As an indie, I handled pretty much
I feel like we
everything
should just
myself
all
and can
forever
easily
be
do so
indies from
again.
now on.
Nothing changed when I
Can
joined.
we agree? Can we just all like huddle up? Indie pile. Let's just all stay indie forever. Cause you think a company is good, and then they go through all this and they kinda just fuck you over. I think it's just let's just all be indie. Let's all be indie from now on. Please. Please.
Things changing as I leave. I do have a lot of cool projects coming up very soon, so I'd appreciate everybody's support. I'll see you on stream soon. And she did stream, only to give a very surface level explanation as to why she had left, citing disagreements with management, working on some projects that would never see the light of day, things like that. And again, as people were barely processing the idea that so many talents had been leaving so quickly from VShojo, 2 days later, on June 27th, 2025, VShojo would announce that Zentreya, a founding member of VShojo and
unfortunately, not everyone can go indie. They all start somewhere. You want to know how I started? So I streamed on Twitch for a few months. I'm pretty sure it was like very on and off a few months. I played like only Terraria and like Stardew Valley. I played only pixel games because that's all my PC could handle. I could not even react to videos on YouTube while streaming because it would cause my PC to overheat and like crash, right? So my workaround to like eventually build up the funds, because keep in mind like I'm not able to like work properly, was to just have everything in my PC shut off, go separately record myself watching a cat video was the first thing I did. And I was like, okay, maybe this will go decently on YouTube, and if I don't get like a death threat in 24 hours, I'll keep going. And it ended up doing really well. I'm pretty sure that first video ended up getting like 10k views or something. And I was like, oh wow, I can actually like build off of this and improve slowly. And I just kept going until I could afford a better PC. And then I was like, okay, now I can do this on stream. Now I can improve my mic. Now I can get extra assets. You can... I'm just saying, like, yeah, everyone starts from somewhere, but you don't have to be in an agency to start, is what I'm saying. You could start from doing your own thing. No, please do not watch that video. It is so old. Oh no, my heart. My heart hurt when you said you could watch that video. Please do not watch that video. But if you want any advice, the best advice I can give you is do something on literally any other platform other than Twitch. Like, you could upload react videos, you can... No, don't watch it, please! You can, like, upload TikToks, or, like, Twitter, Instagram, whatever. It's just, anything is better for getting, like, people to watch you. React to your reaction. No! I will not be doing that. But maybe I will watch a cat video again. That would be fun to watch a cat video. I might watch a cat video.
someone who was at this point representing the brand itself was leaving the company. People were wondering, why? Why now? Why you? Someone who has championed VShojo as a company.
No, I'm not gonna watch that.
And here's
no.
what you have to say. On July 11th, I will
That's
be leaving
like
VShojo
torture
for
to
new
me.
opportunities and a new adventure. My time here was long.
No,
I had many
I
fun
will-
moments. It will feel like the end of the world, but know that I will always be here for all of you. Nothing will change other than where I am currently at.
sounds so
Thank you to
sweet,
VShojo for
man.
many years and the memories. Sadly, times change and paths change, and I
Zen
decided
is
I
so
wanted
sweet.
to follow my own path and do new things in life. I hope you all will continue to follow me on this adventure. I know change is scary. It's a scary thing to see something you saw grow change, but that is how life goes. We all take this walk eventually, so let's go on this adventure together. Thank you for all your continued support, and even if this is where your stop is, then thank you regardless, and best wishes to VShojo. She would then specify further on the stream that she was doing this for more opportunities and for personal reasons. She, much like the other talents that had left VShojo so far, didn't want any drama or speculation. And just like that, in the span of like a couple of months, 3 talents, including 1 founding member, had left VShojo, and let's not forget that they were joined by the chief marketing officer, Mountain Dew. This wouldn't be the first time VShojo would go through this, we saw this ourselves. But this time felt very different, especially because after a couple of weeks, even Panini had left the company after 3 years. This was the director...
So do you think that, like, this was everybody realizing, like, what's going on with there and, like, jumping ship, maybe? Anyone who doesn't find their past self cringe hasn't grown at all. The way I see my past self, in general, is like, 1, I have a footprint on the internet forever, and that is horrific to think about sometimes. But besides that is I may not be where I want to be right now. I would love to be more consistent. I would love to be daily uploading. I would love to be streaming like 4 or 5 times a week. But I'm happy to not be where I was all the way back then. Because when I think about it, it's like I have a PC that works and I can play any game and stream and have it on really good quality and I get to talk to so many cool people on a daily basis. I'm very lucky. Not everybody is able to do that. I am considerably really lucky, all things considered. I'm just happy. I'm happy to not be as far back as I was back then. And now that I'm not saying I will be, but now that I'm hopefully streaming more often and hopefully uploading more often, I hope I can keep growing, you know? I hope I can keep growing. I think my goal is probably to hit 20k on YouTube by the end of the year, and I think I can do that. I think I can hit 20k by the end of the year if I work on it, you know? And there's so many people I met too. Like, genuinely, there's so many unique and cool people I met. I have made more genuine friends from, like, this stuff than I ever had before in my life. And it's crazy to me. Because when I think about, like, the people that came here and, like, joined my community and I talked to them and I got to know more about them, and thinking that, like, I would have never known about them if I never, like, uploaded that shitty cat video onto YouTube, you know? It makes me sad. I'm tearing up. I feel like I'm crying. I don't want to cry right now. But I don't want to think of, like, oh, a scenario or a timeline where I didn't meet all these cool people. Right? I will say forever that I am spoiled, because I am very spoiled.
Of talent.
Very,
of
very
VShojo.
spoiled.
So you weren't just getting talents leaving, you were also getting some pretty integral people running the company leaving as well. What was going on here? But of course, as you might have guessed, we weren't done here just yet. 7 days later, Iron Mouse would tweet out, "I'm so sorry for not streaming as much these past 2 weeks. I have been going through a lot, but I hope to get back to streaming soon." People just assumed she was tired, dealing with some symptoms of a sickness, or just overall needed a mental health break. But everyone couldn't have been more wrong in this regard. Getting slapped across the face sideways only 3 days later, when Iron Mouse wouldn't tweet out anything, but instead would release a YouTube video titled, "Why I Left VShojo." And all you really need to understand the gravity of the situation is listening to the first 30 seconds. Watch.
I am leaving VShojo.
Flashbang?
Unfortunately,
This whole video? Oh my goodness. As soon as this came out, I was like, huh? Because when you think of Iron Mouse, you think, oh, VShojo, you know? It was crazy to hear about everything that went down. Just so quick and concise, and it's like, they can't say everything because, you know, legal stuff. But like, oh my goodness. I woke up, I looked at my phone, and I'm like, oh, guess we're doing this today. You know?
I recently found out that for the past couple of months, I have been misled by VShojo. With the information that I currently have, I believe that I am owed a significant amount of funds, which I have not been paid. And most importantly, the thing that hurts me the most is that the Immune Deficiency Foundation,
This wasn't on my bingo
is the
card.
most important charity to me, and also the reason why I'm here today, is owed over $500,000 from VShojo.
So not only was she not
Half
getting
a
paid
fucking
by her
million.
agency, but they were withholding $500,000 from her that was meant to go directly to charity. She had trusted them to make the payment on her behalf, and they didn't. That's something a supervillain would do. In the rest of the video, she would go on to introduce herself again to anyone new that was watching, describing to them just how important the Immune Deficiency Foundation is to her, how they saved her life, and how she started streaming due to her condition in the hopes of simply finding friends, never thinking she'd grow this big. She also reveals that she's speaking to an attorney at the moment. She can't really reveal everything just yet, but what she can say is that around the time she was renewing her contract, when she was having second thoughts, Gunman would push this idea on her that the company needed her to succeed. But if she were to
Aw,
leave,
no.
VShojo would fall apart. Now, yes, to an extent, that is
Guilt
actually
tripping.
true, especially after Nyaner, Silverveil, and Vey had left at the same time. But this resulted in her ironically feeling trapped in an agency that claimed talent freedom. She wouldn't be able to leave because she felt responsible for both the company and the talents that she loved very much in it. It was simply tragic. And then she would specify that she wasn't giving up. She would start a new fundraiser on Tiltify, and the cool thing about Tiltify is that they receive the money, the creator doesn't touch a single dollar, and they then send the money to that charity on their own. Within just a few hours, Iron Mouse had raised tens of thousands of dollars, absolutely eclipsing her initial $10,000 goal, with the entire VTuber community backing her up and encouraging everyone to donate. Soon this news would spread like
That
wildfire.
went to
Iron Mouse, one of the
1.3
biggest streamers
million
on the planet, was
doubloons.
scammed $500,000 from her agency that was meant to go to charity. The Pandora's box was officially opened. VShojo was fair game. And when it comes to internet drama like this, once it rains, it fucking pours, baby. And now you had many people come out with their grievances that they had with the company. Like this music composer here saying, nowhere near what Mouse is going through, but for the past year, VShojo has been habitually late in paying me commissions, sometimes leaving thousands of dollars of my invoices unpaid for months at a time. I tried to be patient, but knowing they were stealing charity money from Mousy while this was all happening makes me sick to my stomach. Another music artist would quote tweet this and say, I have thousands of dollars of unpaid work from them too. Had to chase people down just to make sure my friends got paid. They even hire someone to help with music stuff, but I ended up managing everything while they got paid for my work. This had gotten to a point where it was so ridiculous that Iron Mouse had to make a statement saying any artists / musicians that worked with me through VShojo and never got paid, please contact me ASAP so I can get you paid. I'm so sorry. It turned out that the financial problems of VShojo weren't just related to talents, they were related to everything. Around that same time, Zentreya would also tweet this out, saying, in all seriousness, I know VShojo had times where they would take forever to process a payment out to artists when they worked with me if the payment was through VShojo and not me. I just want to make sure that if you were one, you were paid. Contact me on what project, I'm so sorry. Very shortly after Iron Mouse had released her video, both Kuro and Michi would take VShojo out of their names on Twitter.
I mean, like, what else can you do? Just quit. That's kind of what you have to do with everything imploding. You realizing what's going on, you just gotta quit.
This was all happening, a well-known Japanese media personality would tweet this out, and it would end up being a bombshell, saying, this person moved from a VTuber company to another as a staff last year, bragging about his new income. He thrusted me a few of his new business cards to give to my good contacts. I found the action obnoxiously rude, but maybe he was too young and friendly to know better. Then the motherfucker wanted to meet up for tax advice because I'm a native in Japan and I hire an accountant. I was asked to have dinner in his area, which was quite far from me, splitting the bill. That day I got convinced I didn't like the guy. Yet because I loved the talents he worked with, I was only secretly hoping he would lose his job one day.
Alright, I'm sorry. I know this is such like a very much minor thing to point out. In my opinion, if you're the one inviting somebody out, you should pay the bill. That's just kind of how I think. Like, if I'm inviting, like, if I ask my sister, like, hey, you want to go out to eat? I'm paying for her meal, you know? Because I'm inviting her out. That's what I feel like is good. I don't know that's the right answer. Yeah. I think I can't imagine inviting someone out and then be like, so we're gonna split the bill, right? It's like, what? No. Unless they insist on splitting, hell no, I'm still paying. Fuck that, no, I'm still paying. What I'd say is, next time you can invite me out, you know? That's how I'd say. Like, next time you invite me out, and then we can do it that way. But no, I'm paying. Fuck you.
I heard from another creator that he was showing
Take
photos
my money.
of VTubers' real selves while revealing their personal info like marital status. I now wanted to find a way to warn other employees. Today I've learned—
Wait, what? Showing? Oh my god. Oh my god.
Recently, I heard from another creator that he was showing photos of VTubers' real selves while revealing their personal info like marital status.
Oh,
I now wanted to find a way to
no.
warn other employees. Today I've learned the most despicable shit
Straight
the
up
company has done to their
doxing
talent.
them?
Don't know if he's involved with it.
Their
yet all my
marital
personal grudge is
status, their
nothing compared to such
faces?
betrayal. Sometimes, unfortunately, managers or
That's
agencies can be the talent's
horrific.
worst enemy. Please always support the talent first. So here Shibuya Kaho was pretty much saying that there was someone who worked at a noted VTuber company, we can only assume it was Nijisanji, was then hired at VShojo, and that person was very careless with some of these VTubers' identities. Something extremely taboo, seeing that these VTubers valued their privacy above all else. I mean, they're VTubers for a reason, right? But even though that was despicable, she would still say that this is nothing compared to what VShojo had done by stealing $500,000 from Iron Mouse that was meant for charity. Someone in the replies would point out saying, if you knew about this guy, why didn't you speak up earlier? Revealing a VTuber's information is dangerous to them. It just looks like you joined the bandwagon when it became relevant. To which he said, actually, I just came back from the US where I gathered the info that he was still within the company. And I was actually meeting up with someone who's been working with him in Japan this week. Given that it's a story I heard from someone else, I thought it was best to do in person. Miyari, a Twitch streamer, would corroborate what Shibuya Kaho had said, saying, speaking of VShojo, I remember one anime expo, I was at an after party and a certain someone was trying to flex how he could arrange private meet and greets with the creators behind the models. Never sat right with me because
you know, the other day, I was joking that managers for VTubers are like VTuber pimps. I didn't mean to actually do that shit. Come on now. Don't actually pimp out your VTuber talents like that. What the fuck? I don't know, you know how pissed off I'd be? Oh my goodness. That is...
these creators even know you're exploiting / treating them like party favors? Zentrea, who cares about her privacy so much that she literally uses a text-to-speech voice in order to communicate, would find out about this and say, someone who worked with VShojo was giving out info? What the fuck? Are we so fucking serious? She then tagged
Justifiable crash
out.
out.
Absolute
Justifiable crash
out. The others weren't either. Did you know? She would then edit the post and say, reading, it was Japanese side and it's so dude. It still stands and I personally don't even know what all happened behind the scenes on the English side. I just followed so blindly, leading VShojo thinking it's all cool, man. F me for being stupid. Obviously the community shared her
you
shock,
can't blame
but also
yourself.
emphasized
I hope that's not... I hope that's not Zen blaming yourself. You can't blame yourself for that. You can't. You didn't... Just, no, man. But justifiable crash out. Justifiable. Justifiable.
don't blame yourself, you didn't know.
I'd
Even
crash
Martin
the fuck
Duke,
out
who used to be
too.
the chief marketing officer of VShojo and one of the co-founders, would say, nah bro, what the absolute fuck, tagging gun run on Twitter. Things were devolving, and they were devolving very quickly, with all of these events barely happening within the span of 24 hours after Iron Mouse had posted her video. Now, seeing that Keisan was in a different time zone, she woke up to absolute chaos. But she wasn't just going to simply sit by and watch all of this burn. She immediately announced a livestream at 9 p.m. Japan time, with a thumbnail being, "We need an explanation, please answer VShojo." In it, she would do the unexpected and bring on the CEO of VShojo Japan for a discussion, giving him the avatar of a rat, saying VShojo Japanese CEO for now. Yura on YouTube translated the entire conversation. Because the CEO wasn't comfortable speaking in English,
Given the avatar for rat is crazy.
he spoke in Japanese. He would confirm to the world that the $500,000 that the Immune Deficiency Foundation was owed was truly not paid. This was the first time a VShojo staff, especially someone as high up as him, confirmed this to us publicly. When questioned about financials further, he would explain that he had very limited access to company financials since VShojo Japan was just a subsidiary. He could only see money coming in and out of VShojo Japan, and he was taking a risk coming to the stream because he had multiple higher-ups above him. And the most important moment in this entire live stream would be this right here. No need to explain, just watch.
So did you just say that VShojo JP itself was doing good?
そうですね。
In finances too?
そうですね。
You haven't paid me.
っていうことになるんですね。その、本社の中の帳簿上はそうなってた。
I'm sorry, my model is blocking it. I'll read it out. That is what it says on the main company's financial books, is what I heard.
っていうことは聞いてます。
でもタレントに1円も払われてない状態っていうのを把握しておられたんでしょうか？
そうです。はい。
So, they're saying that it all went well, but their Japan talents haven't even been paid either.
それは資金的にうまくいってないの？
Yeah, doesn't that mean the financials aren't good? That is a really sane thought right there. Like, yep, I would agree with that thought.
入ってくるお金と出ていくお金の
Alright. If you only look at the figures for the money coming in and
数字
going
のみを見たら
out,
日本の支
the
部っていうの
Japan
は
branch is doing well.
うまくやっていたってことですね。
出ていこうかな。入ってきたお金。I quit VShojo today.
はい。
Yes. Immediately, it's like, I quit. Yep. Okay.
はい。
VShojo やめます今日。
はい。
はい。31日予定でしたけど、今日やめます。
So she quit live in front of the Japanese CEO's face, in front of tens of thousands of people, revealing that she was planning on quitting on July 31st because in general she wasn't paid since last year, since September 2024, an amount of money that was in the 6 figures. During this call, he also specified that his salary was slashed in half and that there were talks about separating Japanese VShojo and English VShojo wallets since the Japanese side was doing so well. But again, since it was doing so well, how come Kei-san and other Japanese talents weren't paid for so long? This is why she quit. Now the CEO would specify that the staff was still being paid.
Please don't tell me. Oh no.
Talent, and to
no. That's the words I didn't want to see. Independent contractors to shaft them out of payment. That's what I thought would happen. Oh no. No.
clarify any confusion, Legal Mindset, who is a reliable lawyer, would say another note from Kei-san's stream regarding staff being paid first, they had to pay the staff due to clear labor law violations if they didn't pay full-time staff. They are banking on the ambiguity of VShojo talent as independent contractors to shaft them out of payment. He would then go on to say, overall, Kei-san's stream shows US VShojo leadership aiming for bankruptcy as a solution to discharge unpaid payments to the talents as independent contractors. Now is the best time for VTubing industry to challenge this insanity and establish that VTubers are true employees. So now we just went from them stealing $500,000 meant for charity to not paying their talents to try to legally squirm away from paying their talents money that they're owed. As this entire chaos was unfolding, Michi would go live to talk about what was going on. She would briefly go over how we got here, how she started VTubing as a way to hang out with friends, and eventually she would end up at Nijisanji and it wouldn't really end well. After Nijisanji, she'd be at a point in her life where she had picked up bad habits again and had a lot of baggage. So she was very grateful to VShojo for giving her a second chance, for saving her essentially, making her trust them fully. This is why she would sing their praises so much and so often. Something that she says she feels embarrassed by now that everything has been unfolding. Finally, she announces that she's officially quitting VShojo and that they also owe her a significant amount of money. She then says
they
that
owe
of course,
everybody
there are other
money.
things, but she can't discuss them right now due to legal
Everyone
reasons.
owes
Amelie
money.
would join Michi in announcing that she will be terminating her contract with VShojo effective immediately and will be returning to being an independent VTuber and content creator. Kuro would also go live to talk about his experience, and he'd say that the first year at VShojo was amazing. The contract was amazing, and it was a complete difference to the first company he worked for, which was Nijisanji. He would then say that the second year got more weird, more disjointed, less collabs between the talents at VShojo like the first year, and overall, the vision wasn't as clear as it used to be. To him, VShojo began being a company with a lot of empty promises. But the reason why he and other talents didn't leave is because they would have many meetings with Gunrun and important staff, explaining their grievances and being told, being promised that things were going to improve. And they trusted them. Unlike other companies they worked for, they had the CEO listening to everything they were saying, telling them that don't worry, we'll take everything into account. But just like the other talents, this trust that Kuro gave VShojo wouldn't be rewarded in the end, saying that he also hasn't been paid since September 2024, and that he had only received the funds for the merch that he sold during his debut in 2023 in June of 2025, and only because his manager pushed for it so much. Obviously, that is crazy. He would then tweet out the
I'm sorry. To not get the... Oh my goodness. Oh, that is... VShojo owes Pine money. They don't owe me money. I don't think they owe me money. They don't owe me shit. How come the first thing you guys see is Mpreg? What is wrong with you? Hello, fellow indie VTubers. Hello.
fact that he removed VShojo from his name and would lose the VShojo logo on Twitter, saying, "And there it goes, how do you do, fellow indie VTubers?" Hime Hajime would then join her fellow
Pregnant
talents and say,
man.
"I can confirm I have also quit VShojo. These past few years I got to meet and befriend some amazing people, but I can no longer be part of the company." Henya the Genius would then go live to talk about her perspective, and here's what she had to say. Just 5 minutes before the stream, she found out that her birthday merch was never shipped. Merch that her fans paid for. They never received it. Her manager and her attorney are now handling the situation, and she'll update her fans when she can. She's of course officially leaving
Oh, that
VShojo,
would
and the
break my
situation has been very
heart.
heartbreaking for her. And just like the other talents, the
Yeah.
company owes her a significant amount of money that they've delayed for a very long time. One could guess that it was since she joined almost. Just like with Michi, VShojo gave her hope again. She almost quit VTubing, but here she felt like she had a second chance. She trusted them deeply. But thankfully, even though she was backstabbed by this company she trusted, she will be continuing VTubing as an independent. But this wouldn't just be talents currently at the company, this would be also ex-talents that would finally be able to talk about their grievances with VShojo. One of them being Silverveil.
As soon as I seen Silverveil, I'm just like, oh no. Cause she's been fucked over so many times. I know I said it earlier, but I feel so bad for Silverveil. I wish her nothing but the best. It is still horrific.
She went live to talk about it, and I mean, just listen to this clip, it'll tell you everything. This is her talking about what happened during the whole Hogwarts Legacy controversy, and how as she was being harassed, she got on a call with Gunrun. Watch.
I was put into a call with Gun, the CEO of the company, like someone that I admired and I looked up to and I wanted to please, someone that I thought was the coolest person ever. And he told me that I was a damage to the brand, that I was a disappointment. I was told that me being harassed was an inconvenience to the other talents and not to talk to them. Optics were more important than their own talents' well-being. And I was suspended from streaming. They said it wasn't a suspension because they weren't that kind of agency, but what else do you call being told not to stream?
Yeah, as she was dealing with the
Oh, being called a disappointment by the CEO of the company you're a part of, while knowing your friends and family and you yourself are being doxxed, that I could only imagine. That is horrific. So, like, Gunrun's definitely getting prison time for this, right? Like, genuinely, like, this is, like, federal prison, right? Like, this amount of fraud, and this amount of not paying, this is prison. This is, like, prison. Do not pass go. Do not collect $500. You owe that You do not collect the $200. You owe people that $200. You do not collect it. Straight to jail.
harassment
Hello?
campaign. Instead of the company supporting her, making sure she was okay, the CEO got into a call with her and called her a disappointment. Gunrun was essentially siding with the harassers
Silver's
and
a strong one? Yeah, I mean, like, genuinely, to go through so much, you have to be crazy strong as a person to go through all that and still be like, okay, I'm still gonna stream, I'm still gonna do this because of, like, I love my community and everything. You have to be so fucking strong to do all that.
After that, of course, she wanted to leave. Vey wanted to leave too for her own reasons that she would reveal later, but they would only allow them to leave together at the same time to make it seem like it was a joint decision and not an individual one. They couldn't complain because it turned out that their contract had no exit clause, which is, I think, pretty much illegal. And Nyaners, who
You
wanted to
can't
also
have
leave,
no exit
wasn't allowed to
clause,
leave
can't
with
you? Isn't no exit clause, like, literally not allowed to be a thing? Doesn't that void most, if not all, employment contracts?
them. She had to graduate separately. Now you think, why is it that VShojo wanted Silverveil and Vey to graduate at the same time? Well, that's simple, because after they left, they would start talking behind their backs to other talents, as well as the brands, artists, and business partners that they had worked with. VShojo management would make it their life's mission to slander both Silverveil and Vey to make it seem like they were problem childs. Like the reason why they left and the reason why they got into so much controversy was their problem, not VShojo's. It was disgusting. But even after leaving, Silverveil wasn't done with the trauma of VShojo. She said that the threat of VShojo suing her haunted her for a very, very long time. Because at some point, before she even graduated, she had mentioned in her Discord that she was stressed and needed to cancel the stream. Her lawyer was immediately contacted by VShojo after she had posted that message, and they threatened to sue her if she just hinted that she was leaving or was unhappy at all at the...
I am stressed. I'm gonna cancel stream. I'm gonna sue you for that. Like, hello? People have bad days. You cannot have a bad day at VShojo or you will be sued. That's just in. What the fuck? That's batshit insane. Oh.
Company.
Oh my
she
God.
constantly felt watched and felt like she had to be very careful of what she said at all times. This wasn't a company who put talent first or valued talent freedom. This was a dystopian, nightmarish agency. People felt so sorry for Silverveil because she's had to keep this to herself for years, not able to ever talk about it. She said this was the first time she felt like she could start to...
No, I hope she has a good therapist. I hope she has one hell of a therapist. That's what I hope. Oh my... Like, don't get me wrong, there are things that even I had to take to the grave, technically, because of NDAs and, like, past employment that I am technically not allowed to even tell anyone about, that will severely piss off people to, like, learn about. But that was from, like, past life stuff. But, oh my goodness, Pine, lend her your therapist. Can I get her therapist name? I might want to, like, check out her therapist at some point. Oh, like, oh my goodness. I'm just gonna say, you guys already can assume, the entertainment industry is fucked. Has been, always will be. It will forever be a bad industry to be a part of. I cannot say, like, exactly what happened and what went on, but, like, it is beyond screwed up. There is a lot, and maybe one day I can talk about everything that happened, publicly. But oh my goodness. On this episode of Therapist Swap, yeah.
heal now that she was able to talk. But the bombshells here weren't over, because she would then tweet this out saying, "My heart goes out to all the communities affected by this recent news. I know that it's surprising and heart-wrenching for a lot of people. There's a lot I wish I could say, but I signed a pretty aggressive NDA. They made my mom sign one too. All I can say is that it's been bad for a long time, and I warned everyone as much as I could. It was so much
Maybe
worse
the
than I
mom
could
signed
imagine.
the
The
NDA.
VTubers make the agency, not the other way around."
My gen rule is never sign an NDA. You know, honestly, I make jokes at, like, my VTuber friends. I only have, like, let's be honest, I only have, like, 2 VTuber friends right now. My joke is sign an NDA to talk to me. Because if I want to be friends with you, I'm spilling all of the tea, okay? I'm spilling all the tea. I don't want the tea to get out there and then I get fucking sued. I don't want that. You know?
To take advantage of those who trusted you is vile. Never derive your value from an agency. Believe in yourself and your content because you're worth so much more than you can imagine. They made her mother sign an NDA. That's how badly they treated her and were also scared of her. Legal Mindset came in to clarify, yeah, making your mom sign is not going to hold up. Truly showing us how ridiculous this all is. But if you thought that was bad, Nyanners would then go live to reveal to us even more very disturbing details. VShojo wasn't good with payments as early as 2023, owing her almost 6 figures worth of payments. She would then reveal that part of the money she was owed was for a sponsor stream in which she literally got swatted. Someone doxed her and sent police at her house. She had guns pointed at her. But even though that happened, she would then continue streaming because she was doing a sponsor stream and didn't want to disappoint the agency.
Imagine getting swatted and then being like, sorry guys, had to use the restroom. Anyway, let's keep playing this game. Like, I don't care. Oh my god. I would be like, stream's over. I'm tired. Hello? That's crazy.
Guess what? Part of the money she's owed was that stream. She wasn't paid for the stream in which she got swatted and kept going when she could have
Oh
just
my God.
easily ended. After leaving VShojo, within just a few months, she
That-
had made more money than she had
oh.
ever made under the agency. The same thing applied to Silvervale. Since the first contracts had no exit clause, the Illinois Nyaners,
This is some Lethal Company shit? Yeah. Did you meet quota? No? Okay, sign this NDA and time to kill you. Like, hello.
and Silvervale were confident enough to leave was because VShojo at the time had an expired business license. Before leaving though, she was still in the process of renewing and brought in a lawyer to review the contract. As she was doing this, she was guilt-tripped by the staff. We can only assume this was the CEO, saying things like, wow, she's so heartless, she's talking to us through a lawyer, which is ridiculous by the way. Having a lawyer
I'm sorry. If you are gonna sign a contract for your employment, you hire every damn fucking lawyer you can get. Okay? It does not make you heartless to seek legal counsel. It does not. Covering your own ass should be standard. It's common sense. You are not heartless for seeking help. You're not heartless for trying to get a different opinion on a contract that you might not entirely understand. That is very standard. Imagine getting a lawyer and being called a terrible person. Well, you'd be surprised. This vid is making me want to rip. Oh, Doom music? Play some Doom after this. Imagine wanting legal counsel. Kinda cringe. This is essentially VShojo. How dare you want legal counsel? That's like cringe, you know? Like, no one really does that. We're a family. We're a family at this company. By the way, if anyone says we're a family at this company, you run for the hills. Run for the hills. Do not look back. Run for the hills. Please run for the hills.
lawyer review a contract should be normal. It is normal. Her lawyer would then audibly be horrified during the contract call, sighing and saying some of this is
Be horrified
ridiculous, some of
too.
this isn't legal. We would then get further clarification on the graduations of 2023. Vey comes in the chat and specifies that part of the company's terms for her exit was announcing her and Silver's departures at the same time to avoid panic. Vey also didn't get paid for any sponsors from 2021 to 2023, and she needed to hire a lawyer to pester them 24/7 in order to get her money, which makes her believe that VShojo had used other talents' money in order to pay her. In the end, Nyaners thought that she was genuinely going to take all of this to the grave, never being able to clear her name. But when the Iron Mouse situation had unfolded, she finally felt like she was safe enough to talk to everyone about this. After that stream, she would tweet out, "I'm so sorry, I'm still sick, so I gotta take today's stream off, but I wanted to express how thankful I am to everyone for all the support. Not just for me, but for everyone who's had to deal with this painful situation. It's heartbreaking they had to go through so much undue stress caused by the people they trusted in. I wish them all the best, and I know they'll go on to keep doing amazing things and have many brighter opportunities awaiting them. It was scary, but I'm immensely grateful and relieved to have finally been able to speak out about a lot that has weighed on me for the past 2 years. It was an incredibly difficult time for me that left me feeling so isolated and mentally burnt out for a long while. I know many others have felt the same way, and my heart goes out to them. To be met with the overwhelming amount of understanding and support from everyone when I thought I'd never be able to talk about this or have any kind of closure has helped me so much. Thank you for hearing me out and being so chill. It means the world to me. It's been an awful time for a lot of people, to say the least, but I hope that on the bright side of things, all of this coming to light can create meaningful change going forward. Seeing the VTuber community come together like this to lift each other up has been so nice to see. Please send the former VShojo talent and everyone affected by this all the love you can, and please donate to the Immune Deficiency Foundation. Thank you guys for everything, and let's look forward to way more fun times in the future." Nyaners and Silvervale were finally able to...
Wasn't there a whole, I'm pretty sure, wasn't there a whole controversy when Nanners left and the other talents left, that it was something to do with, like, their partners? I remember seeing that online. That's like, oh, their partners made them quit. And it's like, that is such a... I'm sorry, that's such a brain dead take. No. Don't blame someone's partner. Just no. I can only imagine not being able to say anything. It's like, no, that's my decision. I just remember seeing, like, some people, like, actively thinking that their boyfriends and or partners made them quit the VShojo thing, and it's like, I don't know about that. Is that the first time I said on stream before? Um.
Clear their names, and Vey was able to chime in as well. Many people felt very bad with how they perceived them and were there to show them support. But it wasn't just talents and ex-talents of VShojo that had something to say. No, VShojo didn't need to have someone be a talent in order to mistreat them. In the summer of 2024, VShojo would open their applications again. And since Amelie needed a year and a half to join, it was safe to assume that this was going to be the same amount of time required for a new talent to join as well. What the hell was happening to them as this entire company was crumbling? Well, they would decide to also speak out. I know some people have noticed that I've been spotty with streams lately, and the reason is actually because I was supposed to join VShojo this year. A lot has happened, and after over half a year after signing, I requested to have my contract voided. I won't go into detail, but it was an opportunity that I was very excited about.
This must be... I feel so bad. Because I could only imagine, like, thinking you're signing on to a great company, that it's gonna open up so many opportunities for you, and then have all this go on. I would be so crushed. You know? Because, like, I'm gonna be honest, if it was me, I applied to VShojo or something, and I get told, like, yeah, you'll be joining after this year, or something like that, just for all this to happen, I would have been like, well, there was my one chance. There was my one opportunity to make, like, a huge name for myself. Guess it's just done. It's just, oh, I feel so bad.
Sad that I won't be able to bring you everything I had in mind. I'm sorry for all the delayed projects and ideas I excitedly talked to you guys about, but I'll be working on them by myself slowly. To the few people at VShojo I was able to talk to, thank you for giving a chance to a bug like me. I hope everyone who hears about this news, even if you don't know me or watch me, can still send support to the VShojo girls, both existing and my gen mates. I'm sorry things turned out this way. Thank you to my bug bros and friends for always supporting me and being there for me. You guys are the reason why I'm strong. Let's keep having fun, okay? She would, just like Haruka, link the Tiltify for the Immune Deficiency Foundation. And we'd also have yet another VTuber by the name of PiePie tweet this out, saying, I've been searching for the right words, here they are as carefully as I can say them. I was one of the girls who passed the VShojo audition. After 4 years of blood, sweat, and slime, I really believed I'd made it. But all the late nights, overtime, sacrifice meant something more. I was excited to take a huge leap with the community I built as me, the weird little slime girl you know and hopefully love. But after learning what happened with Mousie's charity funds, I couldn't in good conscience move forward with my contract and it all came crashing down. That was the final straw. We were promised support, stability, and financial compensation. I was so excited to join a company I believed in and that believed in me, but it became clear that many of these promises wouldn't be kept. A lot of us are now left shouldering the costs of decisions we didn't make. I turned down other opportunities because I believed in this one, and I don't regret having hope or for wishing on shooting stars. I was so ready, I still am. What hurts most, though, is losing the chance to debut alongside some of the most incredible, talented, kind, and hardworking girls I've ever
so
met.
Unfortunate.
I didn't just join for myself, I joined for the shared dream we all believed in and that I still believe in. I know some of you have sensed something has been off these past few months. I've been doing my best to smile through the storm, but the truth is, it's been raining on me for a long time. You've all given me so much love and support, and I'm sorry I haven't been able to be at my best. I'm working through my feelings, sweeping up pieces of those broken dreams and figuring out how to chase new ones. Thank you for being patient with me. I will find my way again, but I just need a little time. And if you're still reading, please send your love to all the VShojo talents, past, present, and future. Everyone is hurting in their own way, and kindness costs nothing. Until then, stay happy. Absolutely heartbreaking. Unfortunately, though, the heartbreak wouldn't end here because there was yet
more heartbreak. I was gonna say, like, please support all the talents in this whole thing, and, like, especially please support the ones that never actually got to reap the benefits of being in VShojo as a company while it was considered a good company. It's just so disappointing. It is so sad. I would be crushed. I could only imagine how it feels to, like, actually have it.
Another member by the name of Phoebe-chan who found themselves in the same boat, saying, I needed extra time to gather my thoughts before saying anything, but I was one of the undebuted VShojo talents who passed the audition last year. Please be gentle towards those affected, linking a YouTube video titled My Experience with VShojo. She would also echo the same things as PiePie, saying that she had worked so hard to get to this point, and it is just so heartbreaking to see it all fall apart within the span of a day. It's just a stab to the heart when you see people who were so hardworking and patient get so close to bearing the fruits of their labor and not able to even enjoy them. This would also happen to the 5th and final member that was meant to join VShojo. As far as I'm aware, there were 5 of them. She went by the name Tori Oriane, but her story was a bit more unique than the others. You see, VShojo had for some reason implored her to completely abandon her identity, to start from scratch with a new model and new name in VShojo. That was kind of counterintuitive when it came to talent freedom, but she accepted. I mean, she wanted to be in this agency that signified success for her. She'd be strung along for months, being told that they were working on her debut, working on her model, working on her assets, when in reality they were doing none of that. She only found out recently that this wasn't happening as the company was imploding.
I shouldn't be surprised.
And this was with the
They did none
mindset
of
that
it.
she
I
was
shouldn't be
abandoning this
surprised, but
account.
I
She
am.
didn't put as much effort into this, thinking that she was going to start anew in VShojo. This company stole $500,000 in charity funds and, with no exaggeration, ruined the hopes and dreams of 5 people that had so much potential. That is criminal. But as you might have guessed, those 5 talents were not the only ones who got screwed over by VShojo. You even had the very well-renowned VTuber Mint Fantôme post this, saying, "My experience with VShojo, sorry to add to the discourse, but I'd be really appreciative if you would listen." In it, she would say that her interactions with VShojo started when she would make a podcast with Matara. Even though she wasn't a member, she did collaborate on merch, but didn't receive a single dollar from it. When she met up with Matara in Japan, she told her that she was feeling lonely, that she wanted to join a group or a company. So eventually, she came up with the idea to pitch an idol group to VShojo, and Gunrun was supportive. And VShojo would audition 2 other people. These would be completely separate from the 5 VTubers we just saw. The problem, though, is that the debut kept getting delayed. She tried to be as patient as possible in the beginning, but then it just became ridiculous. Another merch drop would happen, and again, she would receive $0 from it. And that, technically speaking, throughout the whole thing, she was actually a VShojo talent for over a year, even though no one really knew about it publicly. This was, of course, again, tragic. And it would show us a trend with VShojo, the fact that they wanted to do so much, but very often would bite way more than they could chew. The same thing would happen with Quinn, who is a VTuber that used to be at Nijisanji that also happens to stream with Facecam. VShojo would tell him that they're interested, that they really would love to sign him on, but eventually would just ghost him. This company's higher-up management was ran by complete clowns who didn't really know how to run a business, and more revelations would come out. For example, Shoto, who is a very big VTuber, would say, "Fun fact, I was contacted for
One
an
of the
opportunity
biggest
to join
male
VShojo back in
VTubers,
2023, and I'm very glad it didn't go through. Please support Mouse and support the Immune Deficiency Foundation, y'all." To which Sayu, yet another very big VTuber, would say,
You too?
Damn, and retweet. Shy Lily, who needs no introduction, would say, "Good thing I trusted my gut feeling when VShojo tried to recruit me. Their contract was riddled in red flags and basically legal robbery. This makes me sick to my stomach. Please, if you can, support Mouse and the Immune Deficiency Foundation." And even more tragically, Sayu, who used to be at Nijisanji and was treated horrendously by that company. Like, I'm talking, she was doxxed and harassed and everything, and Nijisanji did nothing, effectively what Gunrun had done to Silvervale, would get in contact with VShojo as she was stepping out of Nijisanji. At that point, she had lost all hope, but VShojo had given her renewed hope. She pitched an idea to Gunrun, saying, what if she left and several others left, and they would make a gen of ex-Nijis in VShojo? He liked the idea, wanted to listen to more things she had to say. She felt like she was finally validated for the first time in her career. And Gunrun, the CEO of VShojo, would tell her that he wanted to help and that this sounded like
read
a
ahead.
plan, saying that the only thing he was waiting on was for her and Nijisanji to finalize their graduation. After she'd go through an absolute nightmare and finally get rid of that company, she would reach out to Gunrun again and would only receive a surface level response, effectively ghosting her. She
Yep,
had lost
just
everything
ghosted.
in Nijisanji. She had lost complete hope. Gunrun gave her some hope, and she had lost that too, all in the span of just a few months. It turned out that VShojo wasn't this next level new era VTuber agency. It was run by a manipulator who couldn't run a business better than a kid. And speaking of that manipulator and how he founded VShojo, I wasn't fully honest with you in that regard. It didn't really pop out of nowhere in 2020. No, it was actually a work in progress, and it was only revealed in 2020. And according to Project Melody herself, it began with Gunrun DMing her on Twitter. She was exclusively an adult content creator who streamed on adult sites, but he wanted to know if she was interested in streaming non-adult content on Twitch. Watch her say this herself.
I debuted on a different site. That was the only thing I wanted to do. And then Gunrun reached out to me on Twitter the day that I was closing DMs. Like I was going to click delete, and then he was the top. And he said, hey, I love what you're doing. Anime is awesome, and, hentai, and I like your vibe. If there's anything I can do to help, let me know. And he's like, have you been on Twitch? Would you consider that? And I'm like, hell no, I won't. And then...
So that's a pretty interesting piece of history. She was technically the first ever founding member of VShojo. But here's two more interesting things. The first one being that she thought this was going to be a LootTuber agency, full of people that make adult content like her. And the second interesting fact is that initially she acted as the talent manager. You'll see this for yourself because she explains this too.
In the back of my mind, I thought it was gonna be a VTuber agency. But then I accidentally ran into Mouse, and I heard her talking about seeing someone on a train, and then she sang Ave Maria, and I said, her right there, she is the one. Yes.
That
Now,
is
of course,
crazy.
she's half joking over here, but it's interesting to see how much of an influence she had on the early days of VShojo, even before they came up with the name of the agency. And again, I'm not making this up or exaggerating, she said this herself on her stream. Take a look for yourself.
Originally, when we started VSJ, before we even went with the name, the concept kind of was thinking a talent agency, but for more people like me. Because we're like, clearly lewd tubing will eventually happen. We didn't have a word for it because it wasn't a thing.
Good name.
And yeah, exactly. That would be really neat, is a lewd tubing group. And I'm sure it will eventually happen. But, oh damn.
Is
that was
there a
beautiful
LootTuber
avenue.
group
Yes,
now? I thought
but
there was.
very quickly we realized, like,
I thought there was the one that got
that
announced on
kind of,
Twitter
like,
not too long ago.
isolates us, and there's a lot
Yeah.
of cool people out there, just like people hidden amongst it, because there wasn't that many English speaking ones. It was almost entirely Japan based, and so lewd tubing was more obscure. It was a neater concept to build something that's more general and.
So she was the first founding member. She was also the talent manager who decided to pick Iron Mouse and the other founding talents. And the reason why I'm pointing all this out is because all roads lead back to the Nux controversy. Take a look at what he had to say once Nyanners talked about her swatting as VShojo was imploding, well, right now. Watch.
VTuber Nyanners says that VShojo didn't pay her for a sponsored stream when she got swatted. She left the agency in 2023 and claims VShojo had failed to pay her for multiple deals over several years. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I actually knew about this. I actually knew about this years ago, because that stream that she got swatted, the person that swatted her was the person that tried to swat me, that I helped VShojo actually get arrested. Okay? I don't think you are aware of this. I don't think you again, personal Nux information. The reason why a lot of the VShojo girls were so upset about my video calling attention to this swatter is because I think a lot of misinformation was fed to them by the VShojo company, but also because that swatter actually swatted Nyanners. I never said this publicly because I felt like it wasn't actually appropriate. And you know, it's not my information to deliver or release. I never do that. As you know, I
Dots
don't
are
actually,
connecting.
Release private information,
Yep.
generally speaking, unless I think it's actually important. But this is actually a thing. And Nyanners actually called me after the drama to basically tell me and express her headspace about the entire situation and why she was so, like, easy to be triggered by everything, because she was actually swatted, and it's fucking horrible. It really is. So
Oh my goodness. The dots are connecting. My crossword puzzle is almost done. But like, blah, 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 blah. This whole situation just has my brain in scrambles of just why even do all this in the first place, right? When you have all these talented people that are wanting to be with you, to like work with you, be a part of your whole agency. Why fuck them over? Why do all that? Come on now.
she, whatever. I don't want to get into details. As you know, private information remains private. I don't release anything publicly.
It's just so
but
bad.
that was what happened. It turned out. It was that same swatter that actually went after me. So yes, I do know about this, and I do know that she had to continue her stream after she was swatted because it was a sponsored stream. The update is that she didn't even get paid for that.
Huh. Interesting. So Nyanners was doxxed and swatted by the same person trying to dox Nux and Saki Nightshade. That was never mentioned by VShojo in their very lengthy explanation. They claimed that there were only 2 victims of that specific doxing method. But what I find really interesting is that Nux, even though he was literally being backstabbed out in public, still tried to protect Project Melody, who was in the group. In fact, she was the creator of that group. She was the one who invited Nux, Phoenix, and Gunrun. You can see this in the crown that's next to her name on the right. The only reason we found out she was there was because of Fruit, even though I don't even think that was her intention. So this, of course, raises even more questions. Nyanners was the victim here. How come she wasn't the one in this group instead of Project Melody? And why is it that Project Melody's here with the CEO and the head of the cybersecurity operations of VShojo? Did Gunrun view her as a co-founder? And finally, seeing that she held some role of importance in VShojo, was she aware of the financial constraints of the company in 2025? Those are fairly important questions to ask.
I really hope
but
not.
With all this new information at our
I
disposal,
really hope
it comes
she
as no
didn't know about
surprise
all
that
that.
Project Melody was one of the final members of VShojo to announce her resignation, saying this: "I waited to make a statement because I'm always anxious and struggle to find my words, but yes, I'm leaving VShojo. I was an OG talent, put everything into this company, but I'm beyond devastated at what happened, and I'd never in a million years thought I'd be saying these words." Now, I'm not implying anything, and to do so would be dangerous, so take this with a grain of salt. But so far, on every tweet of every single VShojo member leaving, there were other VShojo members replying. Not a single one can be found in these 1,100 replies on this post. Project Melody would make yet another post saying that she's taking a 1 to 2 week break. Again, in the replies, not a single VShojo member can be found. Now look, this could very well be a complete coincidence. It's not like they unfollowed her on Twitter. To say that Project Melody had a hand in embezzling the $500,000 that belonged to the charity would be absolutely ridiculous. But what we can do right now is simply ask questions, especially in regards to the Nux controversy, which is still missing some pieces. We'll see if she'll have anything to add or clarify when she's back from her break. In the meantime though, every single member of Nova would all leave together, putting an end to this joint venture between VShojo and the Universal Music
That's all you can do, right?
But Gunrun was silent. The company's page was silent, and it would take yet another 24 hours on July 24th, 2025 to finally get an official statement from VShojo. Gunrun would finally post his statement using the VShojo official Twitter page, saying, "VShojo has failed, and I've mismanaged the company into the situation you're all witnessing. So today I'm sharing the difficult news that VShojo is shutting down, and I take full responsibility for the decisions that led us to this point. I've been doing everything I can to fundraise and right the ship these past few months, but despite my efforts, we are in a worse position, and those I care about are not paying the price."
I'm sorry, you can see me literally doing eye rolls and like moving my head back. I am just very, this whole statement, just reading it, I just want to just, it's so bad. It's so bad. It is, what even is this? It is so bad.
Past few months, but despite my efforts, we are in a worse position, and those I care about are not paying the price.
Yeah,
Over
the whole
past few
thing about
years,
making
we
your
raised
blood
around
boil is
$11
how I
million to
feel.
pursue a bold, talent-first approach in VTubing, prioritizing creators and community over short-term profits to achieve long-term sustainability. Our funding went directly to our creators through generous splits, debut investments, infrastructure, concerts, events, and staffing, all designed to support them. We also wanted talent to own their IP, which we knew was a unique creator-first approach for an agency. However, despite all our efforts, the business failed to generate the revenue we needed to sustain that model, and eventually we ran out of money.
Okay, but then you talk to your talents about that. Don't you? Don't you just talk to your talents about it, be clear? I mean, they would have respected you more if you were like, I'm gonna be honest, the contracts and everything we gave you, it's not profitable for the company. Could we renegotiate, and or do you want to be released? Would... No communication.
Additionally, I acknowledge that some of the money spent by the company was raised in connection with talent activity, which I later learned was intended for a charitable initiative.
What do you mean you later learned? One of your biggest, if not your biggest talent, says, I'm giving half of my sub money to this charity. You know about that. You can't say later learned. That's just not... No. That's just no. He knew. He 100% knew.
At the time, we were working hard to raise additional investment capital to cover our costs. and
This
I
isn't
firmly
even
believe,
excuses.
based on
This
the
is just
information available
straight
to
up
us,
trying
that
to
we would be able to
gaslight.
do so
Why?
and cover all
Gaslight,
expenses.
gatekeep,
We were
gun run, I
unsuccessful in
guess.
our fundraising efforts. I made the decision to pursue funding, and I own its consequences. I am deeply sorry to all the talents, staff, friends, and community members who believed in our brand. We did not deserve this.
If you were truly sorry, this wouldn't have even gotten this far. I'm sorry. If you were truly sorry, this would not have gotten this far. That it's just that simple. It would not have gotten this bad if you were actually sorry. He's sorry he couldn't. Yeah, he's not sorry. He's sorry he got caught. It's like.
Signed, Justin Gunrun. What a dog shit apology, right? I mean, look, I've been objecting
Yes,
this whole video.
bring
Come on,
out the
allow me to be a
ukulele,
bit biased here.
please.
This is fucking
Someone
terrible.
bring out
So
a
no wonder he got
ukulele.
immediately community noted, saying Justin claims to not know the purpose of these funds, but he personally congratulated Iron Mouse on the completion of her charity fundraising event and reposted Ludwig, directly mentioning that half the funds would go to charity.
If I was good at snapping, I'd be snapping right now at that community response.
You can see Gunrun congratulating Iron Mouse on her subathon, saying, "You did it, Mouse." On July 25th, Legal Mindset would reply with, "The feds will be looking at this post." And here you can see the Gunrun
I'm sorry, that response is.
Legal Mindset would reply with, "The feds will be looking at this post." And here you can see the Gunrun retweeting a tweet from Ludwig, congratulating Iron Mouse on her crazy achievement. Iron Mouse would reply to this apology saying, "You broke my heart, my spirit, and my trust." Kaysan would say, "Why didn't you let us know the moment you realized the situation? Why did I get this information 2
Literally.
weeks ago, not from the company, but from my homegirls? Why did you lie to the Japanese branch a week ago that everything was good and taken care of?" Henya would say, "I had a wonderful time while I was in there, so because of that, it hurts my heart a lot. My community and my friends don't deserve this. I don't expect you to do anything at this point. Just please don't do this ever again to anyone." Giga would say, "VShojo didn't just fail. Many staff and leadership failed VShojo. Instead of using talent money on operating costs, the company should have shut down or at least informed us, but you used us as cash cows to keep things afloat while keeping us in the
This is
dark."
fucked up,
Amelie
Dale.
would say, "This is
Yeah.
exactly what Copium merch did to me, and you promised it wouldn't happen to me again. I'm so beyond disappointed and frustrated, I don't even know what to feel anymore." Recounting an experience she had with a company that pretty much scammed her and her fans out of merch. Michi Mochievi would say, "We trusted you and you knew how hard that was for some of us to do. Our communities, people who only ever do their best to support us and care for us, do not deserve this either." Adding a little humorous twist and saying, "This does not get 5 big booms from me, OG."
No
Nyanners would say,
booms.
"So is the COO gonna say anything?"
No big booms at all. The opposite of big booms. What is the opposite of big booms? Can we get 5 wilted flower emojis instead? 5 wilted flower emojis.
5 big booms from me, OG. Nyanners would say, "So is the COO gonna say anything about his involvement, or is he busy Googling how do I renew my law license past the
Thank you,
deadline?" Pretty
Josh.
much revealing to us for the first time that the chief operating officer, the one who handled legalities within VShojo, had an expired law license. Silvervale would say, "How did you not know? How could you betray the people that trusted you the most and think everyone would believe this garbage? You ruined lives. I hope the money gets repaid, but I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't. You're a disgrace and a disappointment." Hey, you know what? You go, girl. She's
Yeah,
just doing
get
the
back
same
at
exact
that.
thing he did to her.
Absolutely. Absolutely called disgrace disappointment. You deserve that. I'd say crash out harder if you could. Just a full on crash out. Just deserved.
During the whole Hogwarts Legacy fiasco. But one of the most heartbreaking replies would be from
Oh,
Zentreya, saying, "I've been
no.
trying to figure
I read this. I read Zen's response as it came out. It broke. It broke my heart. It broke my heart so bad.
out what to say. Why did you keep dodging my messages and concerns? When I wanted to do one-on-ones, you kept dodging or gave me a short corporate answer. Even when I was under immense pressure from the community for answers about the auditions and I pleaded for a statement by your PR team, you told me it wasn't needed. You made a tiny video instead, looking like you were hurt and upset, saying sorry, instead of meeting me one-on-one for my concerns, and I was left crying and frustrated. But like a fucking dog, I went back and happy to even get something from you cause oh man, boss actually answered me. You wanted a one-on-one finally when you knew everything was crashing around you. Then debuting new talents and such even after the community kept asking about it and kept waving it off and letting me take the punches. I smiled. I fucking brushed it off and kept pushing the company cause I was hopeful for new talent and bringing new people to help. Instead, I find you were hiring people without input and poaching without even the idea of truly helping them other than financial gain. We didn't even know who you were bringing in. You and the team told us to just take it. You and some people were really ready for me to be thrown under over and over. Even when Amelie joined, I begged you to put out a statement regarding auditions before she announced her debut stream. You gave us the middle finger. Me and Amelie had to put out a statement because your PR team was unfit for their job. I took it all. Why did we have to say anything at all? Why did I have to keep taking the fucking damage over and over? You were hurting me well before this. You know you have. I've been pushing a company so blindly who didn't even care for me, but I'm an idiot and I kept believing. I was so excited for this. I spent sleepless nights dealing with constant harassment, and you spent money which you didn't even have without even warning us on God knows what, and you knew, don't even lie, you knew that the money was for charity and was supposed to be placed to the side to be untouched. Where did $11 million go in less than 3 years even? What happened to all that money? I'm just really tired from all these years of working, trying to push for something that kept pushing me to the wolves. I was so stupid, but I was so excited. I really trusted you. We all did.
So
Despite everything, I don't wish you any ill will. I just hope you find some way to make this right. VShojo had gone from being the hope of the VTubing community to a leech that had sucked out the hope of everyone who had any contact with it, whether they were talents or not talents, whether they had auditioned or were in the process of joining. This was a tragedy on a cataclysmic scale.
And again, I really hope, because I feel so bad that a lot of these responses was I should have known better, I feel bad, I can't believe I sang their praises. It's like you didn't know. You were just trying your best. Please don't blame yourself. And it's so sad.
And no one was believing anything he said. No, there was no way you didn't know that this money was intended for the Immune Deficiency Foundation. Zero possibility. You literally brought Iron Mouse to an Immune Deficiency Foundation charity event in person. VShojo even issued a press release stating they would donate half the profits from her subathon on September 2nd, 2024. You think this won't be used in court? You can't just
that's
feign
being
ignorance.
used in court.
Legal Mindset would later
100%.
chime in, saying the only reason the VShojo CEO included the later learned language is to try to keep himself out of criminal hot water. But I mean, come on. Even a pet hamster would understand by now that there's no way he's dodging this. Soon
Yeah, this
after,
is a prison.
Twitch would remove
Straight
the
jail.
legacy emote known as Gunrun, not wanting to associate with him in any way. But you want to know what's crazy? Fruit has been inactive from January 2025. She finally made a comeback on July 21st, 2025, and literally just a day after she had come back, she would find out about the whole Iron Mouse situation. She effectively came back to a raging fire. At this point, it was already implied, but she still felt the need to specify that she's left VShojo, saying, as a day one talent, it's truly heartbreaking that it has come to this. I had the opportunity to achieve so much in the last 4 to 5 years. I'm really anxious about becoming indie, but I'm going to continue doing what I set out to do and make fun things. The people, whether talent or staff, were the best part about
I
the
can only
company. I
imagine
had the
coming
pleasure of
back from
meeting
like
so
an
many
internet
inspiring
hiatus
individuals. I
to
hope we can
see
cheer
your
them all on
company
together
burnt to the
moving
ground.
forward.
Like, oh
And
shit.
with Fruit leaving,
You know?
VShojo had officially become a talent agency with absolutely zero talent. I think it's important to specify that even though these VTubers already had one hell of a community around them, having to wrestle with the idea that you're going indie, that you're losing all the resources that this agency once gave you, all in the span of 24 hours, isn't the easiest thing to process. But you know what isn't easy to process? At least for VShojo? The fact that Vey didn't give a single shit that she was still under NDA. She saw the company crumbling, barely able to keep up with finances. She thought, they're not gonna sue me, so she revealed,
I don't think the NDAs are considered void, though. I think the NDAs are still technically a thing. Well, I mean, if they really have no money, they won't have a lawyer, right?
everything. And it was extremely disturbing, saying, and so our NDAs are now void. Why I left VShojo. Back in 2023, VShojo tried to bully me into one of the most predatory contracts that I have ever seen. When I tried to ask more about it, their COO got extremely hostile with me and refused to answer any of my questions, and so I had to hire a lawyer in order to get some clarification. During the talks, it became clear that VShojo would rather let me go than to take less away from me. They were ultimately wanting me to give up more than half of all my sponsor revenue and over 60% of all my merch sales. All I asked from them in return is to not take a cut of the sponsors that I was getting through Mythic, as that cut was already being taken. They said no, they want it all. So just
Okay. Also, if you're ever in a situation like this and you have a different sponsor agency that's getting you sponsors, make sure that if you do sign on to a contract like that, you have a non-compete. A non-compete so they cannot take sponsors get cuts from it, or let's say, okay, let's say Mythic got a sponsor. They're like, hey, if you play this game, they'll pay you $10,000, right? If you don't have a non-compete, if VShojo could technically go, hey, no, she'll do it for 9,000 actually, if you do it through us. So please make sure if you ever get anything like this, you have a non-compete. Please.
To clarify any confusion here, most of the VShojo
because it will fuck you over. I can promise you that it will fuck you over. I have been sort of fucked over by this type of thing. So please, make sure you have a non-compete.
talents had a talent agency in parallel to VShojo, like Mythic Talent, for example. They would be there for the sole purpose of getting them sponsors. This was a completely normal thing to do, but VShojo wanted a cut of the sponsors from Mythic, even though
studied law, barely. I studied criminal justice and criminal law in high school. I mean, technically it was college courses. If I were to go to college, I wanted to first be a chemist. And if I wasn't going to be a chemist, I was going to be a lawyer. Those are the two things I wanted to do. But then I ended up not going to college because of health issues. You know, more than 19-year-old me? Well, I mean, I was lucky enough to get into a very limited spot to learn about these things, and it was from experience of past employment anyway. Nothing to do with, like, VTuber related stuff, but, you know, I've been burned, is what I'm saying. I've been burned before, so I know a little more about this than, standard, never been a part of it type of thing.
they were doing nothing to get her those sponsors. They would then continue, and so I asked to leave after being treated like I was disposable in our talks. They basically made it seem like they were my employer and that they're the reason for my success, that I owe them and that I should be happy to give them my money. In order for me to leave, they demanded I sign an NDA that prevented me from speaking to any of the
It
other
ain't like
talent
Hearst
about
Radio.
it. I could not say why I was leaving. I could not say what the terms that I was saying no to were. I even got in trouble for advising them to hire their own attorneys. They would watch my streams, read my Discord, and then threaten to sue me. If I said anything that hinted towards how I really felt about the company, I was threatened with a lawsuit. Another one of their leave terms was that they will announce both me and Silver on the same day in order to minimize the damage to their company. Their COO had begun to push a narrative on 4chan, yes, I'm serious, LMFAO, and other social media that I'm leaving because I plan to join OTK and that both me and Silver are troublemakers.
Have a good
so they
night.
were letting us go. Later I found out that Nyaners wanted to leave around the same time due to also being unhappy with the contract, but was told that she couldn't because it did not fit their narrative that they were pushing internally and externally. The amount of hate we've gotten over leaving, from fans calling us greedy bitches to people saying we're abandoning our friends and tossing aside the company because we're successful enough, was fucking painful. Not being able to say anything sucked. I only found out I didn't get paid for any of my sponsors after I had already signed the NDA. After 2 years, I have still not been paid back fully. To add insult to injury, they also demanded I had to pay them back $10,000 for some of the anniversary assets, which when they sent me back months later, were half finished. Despite all of that, I've had immense faith that the company has gotten better over the past 2 years. I assumed they rewrote their contracts after losing 3 people due to them and seeing all that new talent join. Clearly, this was not the case. Now, for some fun facts. Their company lawyer has an expired law license. He literally does not practice law anymore.
I'm sorry, I literally just said, oh! Of the expired law license. I... Spill the tea!
He was our point of contact for any legal help we needed. They actively pitted us against one another during my time there, and compared our success to others. They tried enforcing streaming schedules so that our viewer count would look better due to less overlap. They would always shit-talk other VTuber agencies. They literally would spend company money to get a tiny dig at them.
The only thing I say that it's probably not bad is the trying the stream schedules at times where like you're not streaming with like 4 other talents at the same time, because that would divide a lot of people and viewers. That's the only thing that I'm like, that kind of makes sense. But pitting yourself against others it's not it. It's really not. Can we just like support our talent? Can we not have like infighting, please? Can we just have like generally like want to wish people the best, lift them up, like prop them up, like you got this, you can do it. Like, can we? It just seems like high school stuff again. a lot of the things with the whole VTubing drama and community and everything is it just feels like drama, like high school drama. And it's like, please, can we grow up? We're grown fucking adults. Can we be adults? Can we be people? Can we support others? Can we be normal?
Especially Hololive.
Please.
It literally lived rent-free in Gunrun's head. They were convinced Hololive was over when they signed Kason and Nazuna. Our previous talent manager got ghosted for 6 months by Gunrun, told not to do any work for us, and then got fired for not doing anything. During this fiasco, we weren't able to get any assistance. Mountain Dew got reprimanded for being creepy to us, lol. Got told not to message us privately. Go figure. I have proof from other streamers attending VShojo's IRL parties that Mountain Dew would actively shit-talk me after I left the company to paint me in the worst light imaginable. Don't know why you're acting innocent on Twitter pretending you weren't aware of anything. Can't wait to see all the shit that comes out about you because there's loads, but those aren't my stories to tell. Thanks for reading, and thanks to those who stuck around between then and now. Thank you for giving me, Silver, and Neon the benefit of the doubt when we needed it most. So, yeah. This was insane. Many of the top streamers in the space would react to this with complete and utter shock. Bro, I was caught completely off guard. Holy shit. I could have never in a million years expected that. And this caused Mountain Dew to be community noted on the post he had made tagging Gunrun, with it saying this user was also included in many of VShojo's mismanagement issues and has been called out for harassing talents. Nyaners would further confirm what they had said, saying Mountain Dew had the audacity to talk shit about you to my face at a party the year that we all left, and painted you as some kind of conniving, greedy, mean girl who was in my ear and manipulated me into leaving VShojo just because you wanted me to join OTK because her boyfriend Soda is part of that org or for some personal gain or some shit. He got uncomfortably close and up in my face and was like, come on, I know the real reason you left. I know it was because of Vey. She talked you into it, etc. And it was infuriating. I know he spread that same shit to other staff, talent, and other industry people. Seeing one of my closest friends get dragged through the mud like this for years was awful. You did absolutely nothing wrong and had so much shit flung at you just because they wanted to push a narrative.
Like to what? Okay, I don't think I can comment about that, but if that is true, that is insane.
To protect
that,
the company. For him to
hope
act
that
like he's
that's
completely
not. I really
blameless
hope
is
that's
insulting.
not true.
He's a creepy motherfucker, and there's a lot more, obviously, but a lot of it is also not my story to tell. Absolutely wild. Now, Dean, a lawyer that's actually certified, specialized in content creation.
I'm sorry, he's so funny for that. A lawyer that's actually certified.
Absolutely wild. Now, Dean, a lawyer that's actually certified, specialized in content creation, would tweet this out after Vey's tweet, saying VShojo has not officially filed bankruptcy. They have not dissolved. Contracts are still in place. NDAs are still in place. Please review contracts before you say anything on the matter if you have signed anything at all with them. But then Vey, whether aware or unaware of that tweet, would still tweet this out saying, they'll have to steal from another charity to sue me, lol.
No comment, no comment, no comment. Oh, but I actually wanted to talk about the going thing. There's been some misconceptions about that on YouTube, and I want to clear it up. Everything I do, my meds, the occasional use of, I don't, this sounds so like PR talk. Occasionally, like, taking an edible, all my meds, that has all been, like, approved and, like, asked for me to take by doctors, by multiple health professionals. I'm not doing this just to, like, party or anything. Please do not think that is what I'm doing. I've gotten some people that have been genuinely worried about my well-being. I am taking literally everything that I am told to, and it's actually a part of the reason I was gone for so long was because I was trying to get used to taking the medicine. I don't like getting into it too much, because quite frankly, it's none of your business. It's none of your business. But for a long time, I would not take the right amount of meds. I would cut them in half. I would cut them in fours. I wouldn't even take them at all. Because I just got used to doing everything while in pain. And not being in pain would cause me to have panic attacks, anxiety attacks. It would freak me out. A part of the reason I was gone for so long was getting used to being able to take that and not freaking out. So please know, I'm being heavily watched. I have medical professionals. I'm with family. I'm with loved ones. They all know what I'm doing. They all know I'm taking care of myself. There's nothing to worry about. I appreciate being concerned, but I'm only doing what is asked of me. I will not do more than that. Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to clarify that because I've gotten messages and some people on YouTube have said a few things that have made me question, that made me wonder, like, what is your opinion of me if you think I'm doing this to do it just for shits and gigs constantly? I think I might just take Gloinked out of the reaction name from now on and just change it back to Pinebaby, so people don't have to go searching through a ton of videos, you know? Or they don't have to, like, find this video to understand what I was doing. So I think I'm just gonna switch back to just saying Pinebaby Reacts from now on. The mind your business. Well, if I say mind your business, then there's gonna be people are gonna, like, wonder. People are gonna think that they're right if I just tell them to mind their business. They're gonna think that I took offense to that and that they're right. So I kind of had to clear it up, even though I really don't like talking about the meds and everything I take. What am I? Oh my god, that 100,000 people. I do not want to. That scares me. That very much scares me. But I hope that you guys understand now. And I'll probably have in a comment when I upload this, like, a link to the exact timestamp of the video of me talking about this, of, like, clarifying the Gloinked meaning type thing, so you guys don't have to worry. I just want to say, like, I know that a lot of people did not mean any malice behind it. I know people were just generally concerned about my well-being with me being gone and everything, but please know that I am only taking what is needed, and even then, most of the time I don't even take all of what I'm supposed to. I'm still getting used to taking meds. And, but the good news is I'm able to stomach more and eating more, and I guess I can share this with you guys, but I actually gained some weight. I have gained 3 pounds so far, and I have never been more ecstatic to gain weight. I actually found out, not too long ago, and it made me so happy. So yay! Yippee! I'm getting to a healthy weight. I'm so happy. I'm gonna keep eating, I'm gonna keep drinking my protein shakes, I'm gonna be good. So thank you. Thank you.
A VTuber by the name of Cayenne, who's a corporate accountant IRL, would quote tweet Gunrun's botched apology saying, "I'm a corporate accountant IRL. You do not misspend $11 million, and you do not mistake charitable / talent earned
Crack
gains as
open
company
champagne.
funds. This is a text."
Not champagne, sparkling cider. Let's crack open some sparkling cider. Or an Arizona watermelon, tea. Or a protein shake. Let's crack open protein shakes. Collectively together. Say it with me now. Protein! Protein!
Embezzlement, he should be in cuffs. And speaking of those $11 million, this was seen as a genius move back in 2022. But the industry insiders that were very doubtful that VShojo was making money and that they could pay it back in 2023 were mostly thinking this way because they weren't working with a private investor, they were working with venture capital, a form of fundraising that had zero flexibility. They wanted their money back, period. And they sure as hell were the last people to understand what the hell VTubing even was to begin with. We would then get more insight into how much VShojo was struggling from a Japanese commodities trader, saying, "Unfortunate situation, but just remembered Kat, who was a friend of his, was offered $2 million to buy the whole thing, but obviously the operation was so unprofitable, Kat said no." I don't know how it ended this badly, but going through the financials, to be honest, it just looks like a team that never ran a business before. Kat was always a supporter or donor of VTubers and was interested in investing in them. A friend of mine was the largest investor in VShojo, RIP, $0, implying that he had lost all his money. Maybe the loan the company took legally required them to be paid back first before the $500K stream donation go through to Iron Mouse, not sure. Still believe it's a terribly ran business rather than fraud, or at least I hope. So as early as June 21, 2025, VShojo was selling itself for $2 million to an investor. This was the amount that they owed to talents and loans. Bear in mind, this is a company that had taken an $11 million loan and had some of the best talent in the entire VTubing industry, hell, the entire entertainment industry. They were valuing themselves at $2 million. Incredible. This really showed us that they really had no idea what they were doing with the business, and we'd only get more glimpses as to how badly they ran the company when even more people would speak out. One of them being Camilla, a well-renowned VTuber in the industry, saying, I
love Camilla. She's so sweet. I just want to say that she's so sweet. I've seen a few of her streams. She's genuinely so sweet. She's so sweet. I'm sorry, I'm gushing. She's so sweet, though.
One of them being Camilla, a well-renowned VTuber in the industry, saying, I want to start by saying that the severity of my experience isn't the same as what others went through with Gunrun. I just wanted to share this tidbit because it affected a lot of my friends, including me. In 2022, I applied for VShojo. I applied under my past life, so her past VTuber identity. VShojo at the time prefaced that they were looking specifically for smaller streamers. I thought I'd give it a chance because I was a very small one at the time. I auditioned. I passed. I received an email saying that I would be moving to the next stage, as well as some of my friends. I and others were so excited to have even passed the initial round. That alone was something to be proud of. We filled out the next part. This mainly contained more technical questions. What's your schedule like? Are you good with handling technical difficulties? What kind of streaming equipment do you own? Etc. Submitted that and, well, got another email back. I made it to round 3. I was so happy. I know I wasn't fully accepted yet, but it was still a nice feeling. So I waited. I waited a few days for the next step. A few days turned into weeks. A few
They did
weeks
not
turned into a few
ghost
months.
her.
Nothing. I would frantically check my email almost every single day waiting for something. Eventually, I let it go. They moved on without a word. I was sad, sure, but more confused by the sudden disappearance. A year later, I started growing as a streamer. I met so many other VTubers and learned a lot by being around them. One day, I was chatting with a bigger VTuber and eventually, the topic of VShojo came up. They told me they auditioned the same time I did. She made it to the final round, but they rejected her and the finalists last minute to hire someone they already knew. And these VTubers were given hush money not to tell anyone
Given hush money?
about it. The girls were devastated, just like the rest of us who got dropped without warning. So,
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, thank you for wasting everyone's time, I guess. Oh, and one more thing before I forget. You have no idea how many times your talents called me in tears, suffering due to your neglect and the way you constantly mistreated them. They weren't getting paid, they weren't getting responses from you for over 6 months, and other heart-shattering moments I can't share yet. Is this the treatment you give to those who contributed to your success? No one as sweet and hardworking as them should have been treated like that and stolen from, and with that being said, I dedicate this to you. It will be a song sang by Camilla titled Dear Gunrun, in which she would address him personally with the lyrics that she wrote. Mia, yet another VTuber that was screwed over by VShojo, would reply to Camilla's post, saying, I only spent half a year getting my hopes up. I cannot even comprehend how the people must feel who got strung along for even longer, just for upper management to choose bigger creators, while the talents, like Zentrea, had to tank all the criticism because they believed their words and promises as well. And all of us smaller people applying trusting Zentrea while the talents had to tank all the hatred from people claiming nepotism.
It's so bad. I remember how Zen was very like, no, everyone can apply. I remember Zen saying how hard like she fought for smaller talents, smaller creators to get like recognized into it, you know, to have a shot. Oh, it's so bad. It's so
Just to
sad.
then, in the end, find out that upper management did treat the talents like cash cows and did try to get more cash cows instead of keeping the promises they gave everyone else. They sold this dream to everyone and made all of those false promises to talents and fans alike just to crush all of it while letting the talent tank it all and disappointing so many people on the road. But what about this whole hush money thing? What about the people who made it as finalists and were given money by VShojo to never speak of it again? Well, one of those talents was Neurosoda, and she confirmed it live on her stream. Watch.
Like, at the time when I applied for auditions, how many years?
Wow. Neurosoda, you have such a unique voice. This is Annie. Probably just a misconception. Not the Clipper. This is Annie. It says, hold on, let me move my model. It says Annie's thoughts on the VShojo situation. Probably just a mistake in the video. But I mean, it's a 2-hour-long video. You can't blame the guy.
Her stream. Watch.
Like, at the time when I applied for auditions, how many years was that ago?
That was like 3 years ago. I literally do not care anymore. But at that time, they tried to like give me the hush money, which I didn't take, and I spoke about the like what happened as carefully as I could, because I was like still scared to like, you know, have bad blood or anything, and then people still like hated on me. Like nobody believed me.
Not taking the hush money, warning people, and then not being believed and hated on is, oh my, that is so sad. That is so unfortunate. I really hope that Annie got some apologies for that. That is, oh no. That's so sad.
Okay.
So you go through these auditions hoping that this will change your life. The company ends up being very unprofessional, backs down, wants to give you money to hush hush. You don't take it so that you can tell people about this, and when you do, they don't even believe you. I can't imagine the mental toll Neurosoda, as well as pretty much everyone else in this video, went through because of this company. I mean, it really is incredible just how many people this company had affected negatively. The list was so large, you couldn't even print
owe
it on a sheet of
everyone
A4
money.
paper. For example, this artist was
They
in the
owe
works to bring
everyone
VShojo
money.
to WeepCon 2026. Pitching it and having management approve. They would tell her, oh, we'd plan a meeting next week. Their schedule was very packed, but, you know, now she understands this is never going to happen. She was given no prior warning. And someone else had spent months and thousands of dollars developing a leather jacket concept for Kuro. VShojo's management loved it, and the artist was under the impression that this was going to be a joint venture. But after all this work, VShojo eventually just offered to buy out the whole thing. They didn't want to work with this artist, they just wanted the idea and the jacket. And you know what the worst part is? This artist, desperate not to let all their work go to waste, reluctantly agreed.
Not the dread.
And then got ghosted, showing us that this business was truly ran by children. Kuro would find this post and would say, wait, what? I don't know how to say this, but I've never been shown this by anyone, even though I had asked many times if it was possible to get a jacket made, but there was never any update to me, so I assumed it's impossible.
And not being told. Oh, a fully developed version of the jacket as well.
There was
Oh,
truly
my
no
goodness.
end to VShojo's fuck-ups. Niji-sanji, move aside because there's a new person on the throne. But if you thought that was the end of these talents getting punched
Mama should have raised a quitter because there's only so many punches I can take, man. I'm tired, boss.
in the face, you'd be wrong. On July 31st, 2025, Amelie would tweet, Mama should have raised a quitter because there's only so many punches I can take, man. Kuro would tweet, oh man, I might have some bad news. Someone asked, is it about your new house? He said, no, it's about old merch. And finally, Giga would say, I am once again trying not to crash out, but brother. She would go live shortly after to explain that there's some merch that was sold to her audience that was still unfulfilled. It wasn't shipped yet.
Unrelated? I love her voice. The voice, the model, everything, I love it. It's so sweet. I could pass out listening to their
In
voice.
the warehouse. Seeing that VShojo is a complete mess right now, she
Such
doesn't
a-
know who to reach
such
out
a- such
to
a
get
calming
a list
voice
of
to me.
people who, bought it. Their addresses, like where she can send them to. It's completely unclear. She's still trying to figure out the details, but it seems that unfortunately, the people who did buy the merch and didn't get their order fulfilled might just get scammed. But as far as I know, some of Giga's merch did ship. In Kuro's case, though, none of it shipped. In fact, it wasn't even sent to production. The pinned post
Where's
in
the
Kuro's
money?
community on Twitter right now is this, saying, merch update. Unfortunately, Kuro's birthday merch was never sent to production, so please file a dispute at your bank/PayPal and do a chargeback ASAP. If you need help, feel free to DM me. So during Kuro's birthday, with VShojo, he was selling some special merch. Typically, the way it works is that when merch is being sold for something like this, there's a time limit. Once that time limit's over, the company knows exactly how many items to print or produce in order to send them to the person who bought them. In this case, though, they sold merch, but never produced it. Knowing that VShojo is in deep financial trouble, it's safe to say people are not going to get refunded. So the only way to really get
They're
your
selling
money
the
back
idea
is
of
to
merch?
charge back. I mean, this is a
Well, I mean, how do I put it? There is multiple ways to do merch, but some people, to gauge how much merch they'd have to make, they have pre-orders or like pre-sales, and then whatever they get from that pre-sale, they send that amount to make. So it's like an even amount, and you pay for it then, and then it's just like a few months later it ships out. Like most plushies, yeah. Not everybody has the merchandise immediately, unfortunately. I'm not sure if that's how it completely went, but that's, I think, what I learned is that.
Disaster at an apocalyptic level. It's not just the talents being affected by VShojo's incompetence, it's their fans now. It's so sad to see. But hey, you know what? Not all of it was negative, because the VTubing community was able to take this extremely negative situation and turn it into a very positive one. Iron Mouse was officially
Very,
indie
very
again,
positive
and her
in the end.
Tiltify charity fundraiser, in barely just over a day, it had reached over $1 million. With the Immune Deficiency Foundation themselves
Oh my
making
god,
a
I'm
tweet
so
saying, "I'm
hyped.
not crying, you're crying." The campaign at the end
Oh
of
my
July
goodness. And the goal being 10K, when I saw that, when the video first came out, I'm like, oh, that's gonna get immediately demolished. And it was, and I was so happy to see that it got way over. It's so
currently sitting
nice.
at over $1.3 million raised, and it was so impactful, not just to the VTubing community, but pretty much everyone who had heard about it, that the CEO of the Immune Deficiency Foundation had made a video thanking Iron Mouse and her community
Aww.
for everything. I mean, this is just incredible, very wholesome. Everyone coming together was just an amazing thing to see. Look, this VShojo saga is probably the messiest, craziest thing I have ever covered on this
At
channel.
least the
As
memes
the
are
biggest
funny.
disaster that's ever occurred in the VTubing space. And ironically enough, the new era of VTubing wasn't actually created with VShojo, it was created with the end of VShojo. I personally completely agree with Sayu's tweet, in which he says, "I said it yesterday on stream, but what's happening in the VTubing space right now is reminding me of the Machinima MCN days, sounding like old man Sayu." I mean, I remember Machinima, but I'm not old, okay? They used to host some of my favorite shows that I watched growing up.
I remember, but I'm not old. It's like, okay.
But the way they were created was as an MCN,
It's okay.
a
I get called
multi-channel
old
network,
too.
something
It's
that is
fine.
completely extinct today. Back then, YouTubers, especially centered around video games, believed that the only way to succeed or get to the next step of content creation was to sign on with a machinima. This would allow them to get control over your YouTube channel and essentially make decisions for you. The promise here was that you would be getting so many sponsors, money, cool opportunities, but the reality was that you would be severely limited as to what you can do, and machinima would practically become your boss. You would have no freedom. Your channel wouldn't even be owned by you anymore. Eventually, everyone left this company once they realized that they were practically scammers, and this led to the company completely shutting down. So maybe the new era of VTubing content creation lies in the independent creators themselves. Maybe VTubing, just like video game content creation in the early 2000s, needed these agencies to lay a foundation, but now they're not needed anymore. Who knows?
It is time to be
will
indie.
tell. I do find it hilarious, though, that in a stream with Michi and Matara, they would find out through tarot cards that VShojo was going to be doomed this year. This was back in like February, okay?
No, not the tower! Every time I get a tarot card reading, I always get the tower. I've only gotten a few, but every single time I got the tower, it's like, well, I'm just fucked.
Just this year. And speaking of VShojo, in Legal Mindset's opinion, this statement was so poorly written that it might as well be Gunrun admitting to a crime. This wasn't over, and the talents could most definitely sue. I don't know what'll happen, but I would definitely not bet my money on Gunrun. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this ridiculously
I
long
would
video.
not
I
bet
don't know
my
how long it's
money
going
on
to be
it
while
either.
recording this, but I am not looking forward to editing at all. And also,
I wonder how long it took to edit the video, genuinely, because it must have taken, like, nights of work, like, all-nighters and everything.
special thanks to
But he goes to jail? He should. He absolutely should.
Star for very quickly compiling some of the lengthy statements from many of the VTubers affected by VShojo. As of now, VShojo's store is not available anymore, but it's important to note that it hasn't filed for bankruptcy yet and hasn't closed its doors down either. As far as we know, it's still a company, one with no money, but still a company. If there's anything for you to understand from all this is to, well, always hire a lawyer to read out contracts. And if a company makes you feel guilty about it, then they're probably a massive red flag. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video, whenever that is. I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know what's going to be uploaded. All I know is I need a goddamn vacation. I love you. Mwah.
Well, thank you, YouTube, for hanging out. How long is this gonna be when it's edited? It's not getting edited. They're just getting the whole stream. They're getting the whole stream. I'll be fucked to edit this. Hell no. You get the whole stream. Congratulations. Hello, thank you, YouTube, for watching. My mind is blown. The best takeaways I can have for this is always get a lawyer to review your contracts. get a non-compete. Make sure that you're not getting screwed over. Please, 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 please support the original video more than anything. Please support the original video. So much work and effort went into this. You can tell just by all the editing. Everything was so well and concise. Did you join it? You did, but it'll be uploaded probably tomorrow if copyright checks go well and I don't gotta mute too much. It'll probably be out by tomorrow. But thank you so much for hanging out with us and chilling with us. I hope you had a good time. And goodbye YouTube. Make sure to like and subscribe, and if you join the Twitch, not Twitch, if you join Discord, you can get this cute little pine cursor. It's free. It's free. I won't scam you out of money. But thank you for joining. I hope I was able to give good commentary. Despite being quiet for some of it, I was just trying to, like, absorb information of the whole situation. I really hope that it was at least somewhat enjoyable to watch. To dumpster fire. Have a good night. Good night, YouTube. Good night. Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye.